Chapter 1078. Read 336. The nightmare race that used to be so arrogant, the nightmare race that sneered at everyone, the nightmare race that looked down on humans the most, had now recognized a human as their master. If word got out, it would be a joke. Say, if the contractor dies, the contracted beast dies. Does this rule apply to her? Someone asked. I don't know. Luo Li said, she didn't die even after we treated her like that back then. Maybe this heaven's law doesn't work on her. I think it's very likely. Another female devil said, although she has a treasure protecting her heart, no matter what kind of treasure it is, it can't go against the heavenly Tao's rules, right? We'll know once we try. Luo Li said. You want to kill that human? It's not easy to kill her, but how hard can it be to kill a human? Luo Li did not take Sima Yue and the rest seriously. Let's make this clear first. After obtaining the Nightmare Clan, no one is allowed to have internal strife. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless. Lori warned everyone. Let's get the treasure first, then we'll talk about the distribution. If I kill that human, will I get more? A flirtatious woman smiled at Sima Yue, her eyes filled with killing intent. Huanyang, don't even think about it. You want to get more points by killing a weak human? How can I let you monopolize such a good thing? Am I not asking for everyone's opinion? Huanyang winked at them and threw them two coquettish eyes. Those devils did not buy her words. Sima Yue's smile deepened as she listened to them discussing how to kill her. Very good, as expected of the demon race. They didn't even need to say much, they just wanted to take her life directly. However, how could her life be taken so easily? Yeah, let me do it. Huahua was in the spirit pagoda. Her words were filled with hatred. What's wrong, Huahua? Why are you so excited? Sima Yue asked. These people tried to kill me before. If it wasn't for the fact that they couldn't find my main route, I wouldn't be here anymore. Huahua said angrily. Right now, she was an enemy, and her eyes were blazing with hatred. They beat you up so badly last time. If you go out now, can you deal with them? Thousand Resonance said worriedly. Last time they had a lot of people and even a few experts. This time they don't have any helpers. Huahua said hatefully. I can handle these people. Let me do it. I want to avenge myself and Xiao Meng. Sima Yue saw that Huahua was determined and confident, so she called her out. Another little girl. The people from Heartbreak Valley saw Sima Yue call out Little Blossom and exclaimed softly. Huahua was different from Little Seven and Little Dream. Little Seven and Little Dream looked very small. Their faces were like that of a baby. Huahua's face had already grown, but her body was petite. She still looked very small. When Luo Li and the others saw Huahua, she was only in her original form. She didn't transform, so they didn't recognize Huahua when she was in her human form. Huahua, these bad guys want to kill you. Little Roar roared at Huahua from Shimenfeng's shoulder. He wasn't an aggressive spirit beast. In comparison, he was much weaker. In addition, he hadn't fully recovered from his injuries. It was even more impossible for him to go into battle. At most, he could only call out to Huahua and the others. These little brats dare to kill my contracted master. Huahua laughed coldly. Good, today we'll settle the old and new debts together. Back then you destroyed my main body. Today I'll use your blood as a sacrifice. Old debts. The people from the demon clan didn't know what Huahua was talking about. However, when they saw Huahua's main body, they finally understood what she was talking about. Huahua's 10 fingers turned into 10 vines. On each vine there were countless vines. These vines were filled with flowers that were as tall as a person. Every flower had a circle of golden patterns, indicating Huahua's identity. Man-eating flower king. Huanyang was also a plant-type spirit beast. When she saw the man-eating flower king, she instinctively trembled. Luo Li and the others didn't expect to meet the man-eating flower king here. Thinking of the old and new debts she mentioned, and thinking of the man-eating flower they killed back then, they shouted, "You're that man-eating flower. Weren't you killed by us? Back then you burned all of my vines. Unfortunately, you didn't find my main root. You didn't destroy my main root. Instead, you let me become the man-eating flower king." Huahua looked at them hatefully. Since we helped you become the man-eating flower king, you should thank us. Why are you still looking for us to settle accounts? Luo Li righteously said, as if Huahua was biting the hand that fed her to settle accounts. When Sima Yue saw Huahua coming out, the other party's momentum suddenly decreased a lot. They no longer had the arrogance they had when they wanted to kill her. It seemed that as long as they found their nemesis, even if they were dragons, they would become worms. In fact, it was no wonder that the demons were so afraid. The difference in strength between Man-Eating Flower King and Man-Eating Flower King was like heaven and earth. Moreover, Man-Eating Flower King could continuously reproduce new vines. Could be said that it was endless. A single person fighting was equivalent to hundreds of thousands of people fighting. If it wasn't for Sima Yue, this kind of fighting power could sweep through the entire demon world. Not to mention, after forming a contract with Sima Yue, she received a lot of power when she was promoted. Now her strength was much stronger than before. Then I will kill you all and let you become ghost emperors. You can thank me in the future. After Hua Hua finished speaking, countless flowers attacked the demons. The first to die was Huan Yang. She was also a plant type, but she couldn't fight back in front of Hua Hua. In just a few moves she was torn apart by Hua Hua. Although Luo Li and the others did their best to fight back and destroyed a few of Hua Hua's flowers, there were too many of them. Losing a few of them didn't affect Hua Hua much. Luo Li was surrounded by more than 10 flowers. She destroyed a few of them, but they were eaten by the remaining flowers. There were densely packed sharp teeth in the flowers. The teeth were poisonous. Once a person was eaten by Hua Hua, they would quickly be paralyzed and lose their ability to move. They could only watch as they were digested by the flowers. Floey only took about 10 minutes to deal with the dozen or so demons. The people below were all stunned. What powerful fighting power! Someone said in a daze. I wonder who is more powerful compared to Little Dream. No matter who is more powerful, they are more powerful than us. That's right. The most powerful one is still the Vice Valley Lord. All these powerful contracted beasts are hers. Is the Vice Valley Lord really a human? Why do I feel like we are not following a human but a god? Forget it, the god of heaven is only a legend. The Vice Valley Master is the real thing. Luckily this is our Vice Valley Lord. If it was an enemy we would be crying. This book came from the book and book #web. Chapter 1079. When the others arrived, all they saw was man-eating flowers dancing in the sky. That scene deeply shocked them. Copy URL access %77% 77% 77% 2E 76% 6F 64% 74% 77% 2E 63% 6F 6D. This is the Man-Eating Flower King. Sima Yue. What? When we were in the dark forest we also saw this. Rumor has it that the Man-Eating Flower King is Sima Yue's contracted beast. If the Man-Eating Flower King is here, then Sima Yue must be here too. It's really her? After the Man-Eating Flower King digested the Demon Clan's people, it slowly withdrew, and the Huahua's hands returned to their original appearance. After the flowers dispersed, the crowd saw Sima Yue and the rest standing behind them. It really is her. No one knew what to think when they saw Sima Yue. The person who had caused so much trouble back then had now grown to such a height. Her progress was too fast. Now, she was no longer the person who would be bullied in the dark forest. Valley Lord, Vice Valley Lord. The person cupped his hands towards Shimin Feng and Sima Yue. What happened just now? The ghost corpses on the ground and the demon aura that had yet to dissipate in the air indicated that something had happened here. As you can see, some ghosts came. We just finished them off and then the demons came. But fortunately, although it was a bit difficult, they were all resolved. Shimin Feng said. The corners of those people's mouths twitched. How was it hard? No one in the entire valley seemed to have done anything. Only the Man-Eating Flower King should have done it. However, since the other party had already said so, it was not good for them to undermine him or anything. They could only go along and say, fortunately you guys are strong. If it was us who encountered them, I'm afraid it wouldn't just be a bitter battle. You flatter me. Shimin Feng said, cupping his hands towards those people. If there's nothing else, we'll be leaving first. I'm sure we'll meet again. Until we meet again. Shimin Feng left with his men, leaving those people behind. Elder, they're too rude. They just left like that. A disciple said. The elder who was smiling just now snorted coldly and said, they're probably afraid that we'll attack them. Could it be that they got some treasure? That might be the case. Otherwise, why would they leave so quickly? Humph, even if they really got a treasure, do you dare to snatch it? They really didn't dare. Don't bother about them. It's not like you didn't see what happened at the entrance. Even Lord Lin. Anyway, just don't make an enemy out of her. Let's go take a look at other places. Yes. When relayed the conversation to her, her lips curled into a faint smile. It seemed that what happened at the entrance was quite useful to her. It could be considered as a protective shield. Sima Yue Sima Yue Sima Yue Yue Sima Yue S Yue 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 Yue. Why do you think this Lin is so nice to me? Sima Yue asked. It should be because he sees that you have a bright future. Wu Lingyu said. In the past, when you saw guys approach me, your face would turn black. This Lin is so nice to me, but I don't see any reaction from you. Sima Yue blinked her eyes. Divinators don't have descendants and don't have a partner. He can't even think about you. What do I have to be jealous of? Wu Lingyu said calmly. Sima Yue pouted. This guy was too much. If you said that he was magnanimous, then sometimes he was very petty. If you said that he was petty, then sometimes he was quite open-minded. I feel that people like them are quite pitiful. Although they enjoyed a lot of glory when they were alive, they have to spend the rest of their lives alone. Sima Yue said sympathetically. People like them are indeed a bit lonely. If there was anything that Wu Lingyu was in awe of, it would only be divinators. Moreover, it was divinators like Lin. When I look at Lin, I feel that he doesn't have any expectations for life. He knows the future like the back of his hand. There's no feeling of surprise. Life is short, he has a heavy responsibility, he doesn't have his own thoughts, he doesn't have his own life. Sima Yue sighed and said, Oh right, do you think that if we really bring out water that he's satisfied with, he will tell me about my father's news? As long as you can bring it out, there shouldn't be a problem. Wu Lingyu said, But the problem is, can you bring it out? Sima Yue's face fell. That's true. His request is so vague. He only said the cleanest water, but the water is all the same. How do we know if it's the cleanest? If he's not satisfied, then we can't exchange for news about our father. You have to believe that whether he says it or not, you'll find him. Wu Lingyu comforted her. Uncle Lu Feng and the others have been searching for so many years without any news about our father, let alone us. Sima Yue said, If Lin can give us some pointers, we can do less useless work. She took out Sima Lu Xian's life token. It was full of cracks, but it wasn't completely broken. This meant that he was suffering. What did he say to you when you were on the mountain? Little Seven thought of the time when they were alone and asked. Sima Yue thought for a while and briefly recounted their conversation. When she heard that Sima Yue was Shimin Yue, Little Seven was really happy for her. So you guys are the same person. Then you don't have to worry about it. Sima Yue nodded. Once this knot was untied, she felt much more relaxed. Did he say anything else? Han Miao Shuang and the others were also listening. While they were happy for her, they were also curious about what else they talked about. He did. What did he say? He told me to get the 100 Ghost Banner when I go to the Immortal Land. 100 Ghost Banner? The one from Bright Red Mountain Peak? Han Miao Shuang exclaimed. Sima Yue nodded. That 100 Ghost Banner is so powerful. Why do you have to snatch it? And it belongs to the Devil Clan. Is it good for you to get it? Shimin Feng disagreed. The last time Sima Yue was tricked by the Ghost Clan and almost lost her life. He was still scared when he thought about it. But Lin said that the 100 Ghost Banner must be in my hands. Sima Yue said, although he didn't say the reason, I feel that something is going to happen. Otherwise, he wouldn't have specially reminded me. You have the blood of the Ghost Clan in your body. Even if it's the 100 Ghost Banner, you can still control it. Wu Lingyu said, since Lin said it, it shouldn't be wrong to do as he says. You believe in his words so much? Lin is the most accomplished divinator. None of his predictions are wrong. Wu Lingyu said. Anyway, it's a treasure. If I get it, I can use it when I go to the Ghost Realm. Sima Yue wasn't against this request. Instead, she was looking forward to it. This book came from Chapter 1080. If we don't want the 100 Ghost Banner to be in the hands of the Ghost Clan, we can let others snatch it. Why must we let you snatch it? Han Miao Shuang said, letting those powerful people snatch it should be more assured, right? I asked him the same question, but he said only I could get it, Sima Yue said. Did he say why? No. Sima Yue shook her head. Maybe it has something to do with my background. Perhaps only those with the blood of the Ghost Clan could obtain it. Who knows? Maybe. Han Miao Shuang and the others couldn't think of a reason. Anything else? Little Seven asked. He also said that we came here because of a great opportunity. However, if there were too many people, the opportunity would be scattered. Therefore, he suggested that we split up with the group in a few years. He even said that they would be fine, Sima Yue said. When are we leaving? Let's observe the situation first, Sima Yue said. At least, we have to find the people from Yaiyang Palace and Zhongzheng clan first. I don't know where they are now. It will probably take a long time to find them. Little Seven was more interested in the unknown opportunities. Don't worry, the Immortal Land will last for a long time. It won't close for at least 8 to 10 years. Sima Yue said. This was what Yin Lin had told her. I thought of a question. If this immortal land is always open, can we enter at any time? Han Miao Shuang asked. Everyone was stunned. They had never thought of this problem before. If there's auspicious beast blood, why it should work, Sima Yue guessed. Then if we kill someone here, the people outside can come in and take revenge on us? Han Miao Shuang asked again. Yes. Wu Lingyu said, so before they come in, those people from the big forces will leave soul imprints on their own people or use secret techniques to let the people outside know who did it. Then they will send people in to take revenge. Isn't that very dangerous? Little Seven said, you have to worry about being discovered when you kill someone. I'm just worried. After all, there aren't many forces that have the power to do this. Sima Yue said, at least Yayang Palace and Zhongjing clan don't have such power. We have to be careful of the powers in the inner regions. Even if we don't put this on all the disciples, the core disciples or the future heirs of the family will definitely have it. Su Xiao said. I don't care if those people have it or not. If anyone dares to have any thoughts about us, my fist will still greet them. Little Seven snorted. I think most people won't choose to be our enemy. Shimin Feng said, after all, whatever Yin Lin did outside, as long as they saw it, as long as they had a brain, they wouldn't choose to be our enemy. What they had to guard against now was those who didn't see this at the time. Yes. Yin Lin said that nothing will happen to you, so nothing should happen to you. Just relax and walk around here. Little Seven said. You really believe his words? Of course, Big Brother Lingyu said that he believes him. Of course I believe him. Little Seven said. I think you want to leave the group and go play by yourself? Han Miao Shuang already understood her personality. He. Little Seven didn't deny it. That was indeed what she thought. With so many people together, it wasn't fun at all. Actually, we did something to the blood. Why? Even if we don't look for them, they won't live for more than a year. Why do we still have to look for them? Su Xiao asked. Because I want to see their end with my own eyes. Sima Yue said, if I'm not there when they take revenge, the feeling will be much worse. That's true. Han Miao Shuang said. Also, if they're lucky and don't meet any spirit beasts, the little trick in the blood why won't work on them. Sima Yue said. It can't be? They have such good luck? Little Seven's eyes widened. She felt that it was too unbelievable. Even if they didn't meet any native residents, they would meet spirit beasts from the outside. How could they not meet any at all? I'm saying what if? Sima Yue said, if that's really the case, it's not impossible. Then we still have to confirm it. Let's continue on our way. Although they had the old ape to guide them, they still took a long time to find the whereabouts of Huayang Palace and Zhongjing clan. After more than 3 months of non-stop travel, they finally found their whereabouts on the Xian paper. In these 3 months they passed by many places. If there were people, they would skip them. If there was no one, they would stop to see if there were any treasures. We finally found these guys. Sima Yue looked at the blue dots on the Xian paper and smiled evilly. How far are we? Shimin Feng asked. They're heading towards our direction. According to our current speed, we'll find them in 10 days to half a month. Sima Yue said. I don't know if they're from Huayang Palace or Zhongjing clan. Han Miao Shuang said. We'll know when we see them. Sima Yue wasn't anxious. Where's the other group of people? It hasn't appeared on the Xian paper yet. There should still be some distance. Sima Yue kept the Xian paper and commanded the flying beast to continue their journey. A few days later, the old ape could clearly sense the location of those people. Little Roar suddenly jumped into Sima Yue's arms and said, Yu, I can sense it. What can you sense? Sima Yue hugged Little Roar and asked. Someone's in trouble. They're fighting. Little Roar said. Do you know who it is? Little Roar stretched out his claws and scratched his head and said, I can't sense it. I can only sense that my blood Y is mixed with another blood Y. Someone must be injured. Shimin Feng and the others were worried. Little Roar could sense that other than Qin Mo and the others, it was Kong Sangyi. No matter who it was important to them. Let's go over and take a look. Sima Yue said, Little Roar, lead the way. All right. The people from Heartbreak Valley didn't know what happened. They changed their route and flew in another direction. Aren't we going to find Huayang Palace and Zhongjing clan? It seems like someone's in trouble. Don't bother about what's going on. Just follow Valley Lord and the others. That's right. Kong Sengyi led the people from Kong Valley and ran with all their might. Most of their flying beasts were injured, but they still carried them with all their might. If they stopped, Everyone would be killed by the black-robed men behind them. However, they were too injured. Even if they ran, they weren't as fast as those people. Very quickly, they were surrounded by the black-robed men and their escape route was blocked. Chapter 1081. Junior Valley Master Mississippi. The Kong Valley's people surrounded Kong Sangyi and her brother, Kong Xiangqi. Little sister, I will hold these people back in a while. You take your men and rush out. Don't look back, okay? Kong Sangyi was already injured. Blood was dripping down from his fingers. Kong Sangyi covered Kong Xiangqi's wound. Even though he had taken medicine, the bleeding did not stop. He knew that the wound was poisonous. Big brother, what nonsense are you talking about? If we're going to leave, we're going to leave together. I won't leave you behind and run away. She roared angrily. Little sister. Kong Xiangqi grabbed Kong Sangyi's hand and said, we can't all die here. Our parents will be sad. Do you want them to lose 2 children at once? Then I'll stay. You can go. Kong Sangyi said, in your current state you won't be able to hold them off for long. They'll catch up to me soon. Why don't I buy some time for you? Why are you so disobedient? Kong Xiangqi roared angrily. However, because he was injured, his voice did not sound threatening. I've always been disobedient. It's not like you just found out. Kong Sangyi looked at Kong Xiangqi. Kong Xiangqi looked at her stubborn little face and felt helpless. He could feel his body's condition. His life force was rapidly depleting. Even if he escaped, he wouldn't be able to survive. But in the face of his most beloved little sister, this little sister who had been stubborn and disobedient since childhood, how was he going to tell her? None of you can escape today, so you don't have to drag me down here. The black-clothed man said in a low voice. Kong Sangyi supported Kong Xiangqi and looked at the men in black, his eyes filled with murderous intent. You must be the people who have been massacring various forces in the Wonderland recently? Kong Sangyi's contract beast, a beautiful woman, stepped forward and stood in front of Kong Sangyi. Master, I'll deal with them. You guys go first. Kong Sangyi looked at the resolute back view, his eyes filled with reluctance. However, she had to make a choice. If all of them stayed here, they would all be annihilated. Master Shui is very happy to be your contracted beast. I hope that Master will find a better contract beast in the future. She can replace me to protect Master. Shui turned her head and smiled at Kong Sangyi. Fifth Elder, take Big Brother and leave. Kong Sangyi placed Kong Xiangqi in the hands of a middle-aged man and said, you must bring Big Brother out. Miss. The Fifth Elder couldn't bear it. It's better if I, Fifth Elder. Kong Sangyi exclaimed, only if you take Big Brother with you can he make it out alive. Don't forget Big Brother's status. Let's go. The Fifth Elder was very reluctant, but Kong Sangyi was right. Kong Xiangqi was the Junior Valley Master of the Kong Valley. If he died, the impact on the Kong Valley would be even greater. He gritted his teeth and brought Kong Xiangqi to attack the weakest part of the encirclement. Don't let a single one of them go. The black-robed man waved his hand and those black-robed men attacked the remaining Kong Valley people. The Kong Valley people were already weaker than the other party. Adding on the fact that many of them were injured, more and more of them fell. Kong Sangyi waved his whip and every whip would send a group of people flying. However, even so, he couldn't win against the other party in terms of numbers. What kind of power did they belong to? Why did they want to exterminate the Kong Valley? Master, be careful. Shui-er's scream came from behind Kong Sangyi. Before she could turn around, she heard the sound of swords piercing into bodies. Shui-er. Kong Sangyi killed all the people in front of him and turned around just in time to catch Shui-er's falling body. Master, Shui-er can't continue to protect you. Shui-er leaned on Kong Sangyi's arm. Blood kept flowing out from her chest and stained Kong Sangyi's skirt. Shui-er, don't say anything. Hurry and eat this pill. Kong Sangyi took out a pill and fed it to Shui-er. He wanted her to eat it as tears kept falling. Master, you must be well. You must remember what Shui-er said just now. Remember Shui-er turned into a little blue marten in Kong Sangyi's arms. Just as she was about to die, Kong Sangyi felt a metallic taste in his throat and spat out a large mouthful of blood. She was being counterattacked by the power of the contract. One of the black-robed men behind her tried to sneak an attack on her. However, before he could get close to her, he sensed danger coming from the side. In a flash, he gave up on attacking and dodged. Kang! A long spear flew from the sky and pierced through where that person was just now. It finally stabbed into the ground behind Kong Sangyi. Kong Sengyi hugged Shuer's corpse and looked in the direction where the long spear came from. He saw the person he had been waiting for a long time. Shimin Feng saw the blood on Kong Sengyi's body and the corner of his mouth. Thinking of the scene just now, he felt heartache and anger. He came to her side and carried her up, saying, "I'm sorry, I'm done." Kong Sengyi looked at Shimin Feng with tears in his eyes. Before he could speak, he spat out a mouthful of blood. "Xiangyi, are you okay?" Shimin Feng panicked when he saw her like that. "Sister Xiangyi, what happened to you?" Little Seven ran over and saw Kong Sengyi covered in blood. She was furious. "I'll take revenge for you." With that, she raised her fist and attacked those black-robed men. Sima Yue let Hua Hua and the people from Heartbreak Valley take action. She came to Shimin Feng's side and looked at Shuer's corpse on the ground, saying, "Her contract beast must have died. She must have suffered the backlash of the contract power. Luckily, it wasn't her life contract beast. Her life isn't in danger. Those people deserve to die. Heartbreak Valley disciples, listen to my orders. Leave none of them alive." Shimin Feng's voice was low and hoarse. It showed how angry he was now, but he had to control his emotions. "Save my big brother." Kong Sengyi looked at Sima Yue pleadingly. "Don't worry, your big brother is fine now." Sima Yue looked at Kong Sengyi and saw Hua Hua using flowers to pull him up. "He's poisoned," Kong Sengyi said. Sima Yue was stunned, then said, "Let me take a look at his condition first." Hua Hua, who received the order, brought Kong Sengyi over. The flowers were placed on the ground and acted as a bed. Sima Yue took out a pill and fed it to Kong Sengyi. Then she bent over to check on Kong Sengyi's condition. There were more than 10 wounds on his body, but the scariest thing was the blood that kept oozing out. "Big brother has been bleeding ever since he got injured. I can't stop it," Kong Sengyi said. "He's really poisoned." Sima Yue checked and said, "But luckily I have the antidote for this poison." "You have the antidote?" "When Shi Qianji was with me, I took many poisons and antidotes from him," Sima Yue said. "You're saying that this poison is Shi Qianji's?" Kong Sengyi squinted his eyes, his body emitting an endless chill. Chapter 1082. Sima Yue took out the antidote and fed it to Kong Xiangqi. Seeing that his bleeding had stopped, she stood up and said to Kong Sengyi, "This poison is Shi Qianji's, but these people are not his." "How did you know?" Kong Sengyi asked. "This isn't his unique poison, it's just something he researched." Sima Yue said, "The mythical dragon sect doesn't dare to act so ostentatiously against the other sects now. You're not from their sect, how can you be so sure?" "Because." Sima Yue thought of the Sky Splitter Devil Sword and did not continue. "Anyway, I know it's not them." Since the Sky Splitter was currently in the Divine Dragon sect, they did not dare to cause too much trouble, because the demonic nature of the demon sword had not recovered yet. If others were to notice them now, more people would discover the existence of the Sky Splitter. They wouldn't take the risk. Kong Sengyi still believed Sima Yue's words. Since she said that it was not Shi Qianji, it should not be him. "I'm touched to hear that you trust me so much." The spatial tunnel opened and Shi Qianji and Shi Qiu Shuang came out of the spatial tunnel. They looked at her with gratitude. "Come on." Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. "Qiu Shuang, you seem to have grown taller." Shi Qiu Shuang's cold eyes softened when she saw Sima Yue. There was even a hint of a smile in her eyes. After the poison was detoxified, the body began to grow. Shi Qiu Shuang said, "I never thought that I would grow up one day. I've had enough of this childish look." "Take your time." Sima Yue said, "Most people at your age don't grow their bodies, but your situation is special. Your body retains its memories, so it will slowly grow back." Shi Qiu Shuang knew that he would return, so she wasn't too worried. "Did you really make this poison?" Kong Sengyi asked Shi Qianji when he saw him. "That's right, I developed it," Shi Qianji admitted. "Are these your men?" "No," Shi Qianji denied. "We came here precisely for this matter." "What is it?" "We discovered that someone was using the poison I developed to attack the people in the Immortal Land. That's why I'm investigating this matter," Shi Qianji explained. Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. "Did you offend a lot of people in the past? Why is it that whenever someone wants to frame someone else, they always think of you first? Can you guess who it is?" "It was like that in Ocean of Cloud City and it was the same here. Those fellows definitely had deep enmity with Shi Qianji, and that was why they'd framed him like this. Otherwise, why didn't he look for someone else?" Shi Qianji shrugged. He was not worried and said, "I have many enemies. If you let me think, I can think of a lot." But there shouldn't be many people who can understand your poison so well and obtain it, right? Sima Yue guessed. Cough cough, it seems like there are quite a few. Shi Qianji said. So you still can't guess who it is? Kong Sengyi asked. It's not that I don't have a clue, but I'm not sure, so I can't tell you. Shi Qianji said, even if I told you, you wouldn't know. After you find out, let's inform the Kong Valley. Kong Sengyi leaned into Shimin Feng's embrace and closed her eyes tiredly. The Valley Lord has already taken care of them. Bai Xing came over and said, I'll leave the corpses to you. We'll set up camp at a place 10 miles away. Sima Yue said. Huahua carried Kong Xiangqi and left. The rest of the disciples followed them and left. Only a few people stayed behind to deal with the corpses of the Kong Valley's disciples. After setting up camp, Shimin Feng brought Kong Sengyi into his tent and placed her on the bed. Feng Shui is gone. Kong Sengyi then relaxed and allowed her tears to fall. She revealed her weak side to Shimin Feng. Shimin Feng wiped her tears and said, Don't worry, we'll definitely find out who's behind this and take revenge for Shui. He knew about the relationship between Shui and Kong Sengyi. Now that she was dead, he felt sad too. But he was glad that it was just an ordinary contracted beast and not her life contract. If not, he wouldn't be able to bear the consequences. Kong Sengyi's tears couldn't stop falling. His heart ached for her. He didn't know what to do. Instinctively, he leaned over and kissed the corner of her eyes, wiping away her tears. Kong Sengyi was stunned. She even forgot to breathe. This was the first time he kissed her. Be good, don't cry. Shimin Feng's face under the mask was also red. But he couldn't think of any other way to stop her tears. Hee, Little Seven's voice came from outside the tent. Her voice was getting further and further away, making the two people in the tent blush even more. Outside the tent, Sima Yue twisted Little Seven's ear and brought her out of Shimin Feng's tent. It hurts. Little Seven patted Sima Yue's hand and cried out in pain. Sima Yue twisted Little Seven's ear with one hand and grabbed Little Roar's neck with the other. Only after they were far away from the tent did she let go of Little Seven and brought Little Roar in front of her. You two actually learned how to eavesdrop. Little Roar, didn't I say before that Little Seven's personality is pure? Don't lead her astray. You actually dared to bring her to do such things? Little Roar shrunk his neck and said without confidence, Why did you say that I was the one who led her and not the other way around? Do you think I don't know your personality? Who else would do such things other than you? Sima Yue poked his forehead. We actually didn't want to go and eavesdrop. Little Roar crossed his short legs and looked very innocent. We just thought that Xiang Yi's contracted beast had died and that she had suffered from the backlash of the contract and suffered such serious injuries. That's why we wanted to go and see her and comfort her to make her happier. Who knew that we would encounter such a scene? Right, Little Seven? Yes. Little Seven kept nodding her head as if it was real. Sima Yue casually threw Little Roar aside and said, Don't think that I don't know what you two are thinking. The next time you bring Little Seven to do such things, I'll settle all the old and new debts with you. Little Roar flipped 2 rounds in the air and stopped. He smiled and said, No, there won't be a next time. Yu's words meant that she was letting them off this time. She knew that she wouldn't believe them. But luckily Little Seven was with them this time, so she didn't punish him. If it was according to the past, an idea popped up in his mind. In the future, no matter what he did, he must bring Little Seven along. I hope not. Sima Yue glared at her. Seeing that Shi Shuang and Shi Qianji were looking at her, she guessed that they had something to say to her. After exhorting them, she walked towards them. Chapter 1083. Did you find anything? Sima Yue asked. Shi Qianji and Shi Shuang both shook their heads. Those people were very clean, nothing was left behind. Looks like he's prepared to die. Could it be a death warrior from some force? Sima Yue asked. There should be more than one. Shi Qianji said, although those people did not leave anything behind, we still discovered some minute differences. They did not belong to the same power. Then it's very likely that a few powers from the inner regions have joined forces to do this in the immortal land. Sima Yue said, Where's your poison? Are there any clues in this regard? Shi Qianji and Shi Shuang looked at each other and hesitated for a moment before saying, There are indeed 2 suspicious people, but it can't be them. What? One is already dead and the other is my master. Shi Qianji said, The dead can't speak and can't frame me. As for my master, it's even more impossible. Sima Yue frowned and said, Based on what you said, it's impossible, but it did happen. I think you'll have to see if there are any other suspects. That's the only way. Shi Qianji said, sigh, because of this matter we don't even have the time to look for opportunities. Sima Yue did not sympathize with him. Who asked you to do so many bad things in the past? This is called retribution, do you understand? Look at your gloating face. You really want to see the world in chaos. Shi Qianji rolled his eyes at her. I didn't say that. Sima Yue refused to admit it, even though that was exactly what she thought. Although you didn't say it, your face showed it. Look at that smile of yours. Shi Qianji exposed her. I don't know how I can be friends with someone like you. I was thinking about that too. If you didn't pester me, would we have become friends? Sima Yue said. I'll pester you? How could this be? I'm so handsome, outstanding, and elegant. How could I pester you and want to be friends with you? Shi Qianji started his narcissistic mode. Qiu Shuang, do you believe his words? You don't believe me, right? Sima Yue ignored him and asked Shi Qiu Shuang. Shi Qiu Shuang smiled and did not answer her question. It could be said that she agreed with her. You guys have always been in the inner region. Did you notice any unusual forces? Sima Yue asked. Other than carrying out missions, we usually don't pay much attention to other people's matters. Shi Qianji said, if you want to ask, the other people in the sect might know better. Well, it was obvious that these two people were going to be hands-off managers and would not pay much attention to other people's affairs. Why are you asking this? Shi Qiu Shuang asked. A lot of things have happened recently and they are all related to the inner circle. This makes people wonder what kind of power is behind this. Sima Yue said, you've all seen what happened in Cloud Sea City. Besides that, the Divine Devil Valley was also plotted against and almost incited the enmity of other forces. Now that something like this has happened. Once we get out, send someone to investigate. Shi Qiu Shuang said, don't cause so much commotion. It's impossible that there are no clues at all. You guys are in the inner circle. It's best that you guys investigate this. Sima Yue said. Right that. What? How is eldest senior brother? Sima Yue asked. He's all right. After he slapped the Jiang clan in public in Cloud Sea City, the Jiang clan sent someone to look for him and wanted him to return to the clan. But he didn't accept their suggestion. He even said that he would kill anyone from the Jiang clan that he sees. Shi Qiu Shuang said, although he was angry, the Jiang clan can't do anything to him. After all, the Jiang clan doesn't dare to touch us. Then, what about the Sky Splitter? Sima Yue asked, is your father still holding it? Speaking of the Sky Splitter Devil Sword, Shi Qiu Shuang's face fell. Her face was filled with helplessness. Father is getting more and more obsessed with it. He won't let go of the Sky Splitter Devil Sword every day. He even yells about killing people. Then his mind is still clear? Should be. Shi Qiu Shuang said, but the last time I went to look for him, his eyes were bloodshot and filled with killing intent. It was as if he didn't have any other thoughts besides killing. I think that if this goes on, he might be controlled by the Devil Sword. Do you blame eldest senior brother? Sima Yue asked. If Jiang Junxian didn't bring the Devil Sword back, then this wouldn't have happened. Shi Qiu Shuang shook her head. Searching for the Sky Splitter Devil Sword has always been the mission of the mystical dragon sect. If you really want to blame someone, then you can only blame my father for not having a strong will and not being able to resist the temptation of the Devil Sword. I told you guys before. If it's possible, it's best to throw the Devil Sword out. Sima Yue said, or let it be sealed forever. Otherwise, it might bring about an even greater disaster in the future. Speaking of this, she really wanted to hang Jiang Junxian up and beat him up. If he didn't insist on bringing the Sky Splitter Devil Sword out, why would he worry about what would happen in the future? But thinking about it, he did it because he didn't want to bring Little Seven back. He didn't want her and Han Miao Shuang to be sad. He chose to hurt others so that he wouldn't hurt her. She didn't know if she should be happy or angry. He also came in this time. Shi Qiu Shuang said, but he didn't come with us. He left alone. What? Sima Yue was a little worried. Walking alone here, wasn't that the same as looking for death? I don't know. He said he wanted to be alone. He's so stubborn. He won't listen to us. Shi Qianji said. I think that after he proved that the Jiang clan was blind after Kang Junchul and his parents died, he became a little lost. Shi Qiu Shuang said. Revenge has always been his obsession. Now that he doesn't have it, he'll be a little lost. Shi Qianji said. Sima Yue understood that not everyone would understand what they really wanted. Revenge would be the motivation that kept them going. Once they took revenge, they would lose themselves. They wouldn't know what they wanted to do and wouldn't know what to do in the future. But what surprised her was that Jiang Junxian would also encounter such a situation. Thinking about how lazy he usually was, she felt a little heartache for him. Sigh, this senior brother. Because Kong Valley's people were injured, they had no choice but to rest here for 2 days. Luckily, Old Ape said that those people were still here and didn't go far. A few days later, Kong Sangyi's injuries were almost healed. Kong Xiangqi's injuries were also healed. Old Ape said that those people were moving and they were moving very quickly. Sima Yuyue and the others decided to set off again to see if they were from Zhongzheng clan or Huaiyang Palace. Chapter 1084. He did not know what had happened to those people. They had been on the move for the past 2 days. It seemed like they were in a hurry. Not only those people but others were also rushing in that direction. It seems like some kind of treasure has appeared over there. The person who went to scout for information came back. Really? Then let's grab a treasure on the way and get an opportunity. Sima Yuyu smiled evilly. All right. The people of Heartbreak Valley were all excited. They had been hurrying along and had not encountered a really good opportunity. Now that he heard that there was a treasure up ahead, it would be strange if he wasn't excited. Originally, they only wanted to avenge the Valley Lord and Vice Valley Lord. But now, everyone's enthusiasm was aroused. They chased after those people and flew all the way. 2 days later they stopped moving. It seemed that they had arrived at their destination. Sima Yuyue and the rest flew for another 2 days before reaching their destination. It was actually at the edge of a sea. More and more people have been coming recently, they heard some people say when they arrived. Sima Yuyue and the rest did not know what it was, but from their expressions, it should be a good treasure. They are from Yin Palace. Shimin Feng whispered to Sima Yuyue when he saw them. Sima Yuyue followed his gaze and saw people wearing the Yin Palace's uniform from afar. Looks like it's them. Sima Yuyue said, they don't seem to be in good condition. There aren't many of them either. It seems like they aren't that lucky. However, the opponents they encountered were not strong. Otherwise, they would not have left so many people behind. Shimin Feng was not very satisfied with this result. Sima Yuyue looked at the sea and said, don't worry, they didn't do it before. This time they won't be able to escape. With so many spirit beasts in the sea, it was enough to make them suffer. We need to find out what they're here for. Han Miao Shuang said. But look at these people. Do they know what they're here for? Su Xiao asked. If there are outsiders, of course they won't talk about it. Sima Yuyue said, but when there's no one around they will definitely talk about it. It's time for the bees to make their appearance. Sima Yuyue released many scarlet bees and asked them to scout for information. Very quickly, the purpose of everyone gathering here was clear. Seeing her eyes light up, the people around her knew that something good must have happened. Yuyu, quickly tell me what is the good news? Little Seven urged. The bees said that everyone is gathered here because there is a small island in the middle of the sea. There seems to be some historical remains on that island. Perhaps a great emperor came here before. Sima Yuyue said. Really? Everyone cheered. If it was true, then there must be a lot of treasures on that island. There might even be some inheritance. As long as it was related to the great emperor, it would definitely be extraordinary. No wonder there are so many people gathered here, but not many spirit beasts. Shimin Feng said. If there were spirit beasts, the people of the Yin Palace wouldn't be able to get to the island so easily. Since the inheritance is on that island, why is everyone waiting on the shore? Su Xiaoxiao asked. Because they haven't found a way to get there yet. Sima Yuyue said. Can't we get there? You can't fly here even if you're from the bird clan. Sima Yuyue said. Then we'll go by the sea. And Ian said. Do you think those people don't know? Sima Yuyue shook her head and said, the sea water seems to be lighter than usual. It can't withstand the weight of a normal ship. And they didn't know that there was a sea here, so there aren't many people who prepared ships. Then we can't get there too? Little Seven asked. Since we can't get there, then why are they still guarding here? I heard that the sea water seems to be changing. Every 5 days there will be another sea water coming over. When the sea water comes over, the ships will be able to move normally. Sima Yuyue said, it seems like there were people who went over 2 days ago. Those who don't have ships are rushing to refine them. At this time, armament masters were extremely important. We didn't bring any armament masters this time. Bai Xing said. Even if they wanted to refine a ship, they couldn't do it. Don't we have a ship too? Little Seven said, with that, we don't have to wait for the sea water to change, right? Sima Yuyue's eyes lit up. That's right, how could she forget about that? But her excited face immediately fell and said, "Only Fatty knows how to drive that battleship. He's not here now, so we don't know how to drive it." Having it was equivalent to not having it. Who knew that little Seven patted her chest and lifted her chin and said, "I know how to drive it." "You know how to drive it?" "That's right. When Brother Fatty was familiarizing himself with the battleship, I was watching from the side. Because I thought it was fun, I let him teach me." Little Seven said. That time she learned it for fun. She didn't expect that one day she would really use it. "Little Seven, you're too smart." Sima Yue pinched Little Seven's face excitedly. "If you know how to drive it, then it shouldn't be a problem for us to go over. Even if we can't do it now, we can wait until the sea water changes." "What battleship?" Shichin and the others asked. They had never heard of them having a battleship. Even Wu Lingyu didn't know about it. "It was that time when we were still in school. There was a time when we went out for a mission." Sima Yue told them about the time when they were sold to mine in the desert. "Damn, so you guys were the ones who did it." And I couldn't help but swear. This news was too shocking. "You said that the mine used to build the force was moved from there, right?" Feng Ji said with certainty. They were still wondering why she had a mine. Now that they thought about it, when the mine disappeared, wasn't it dug by them? And that Almighty who didn't exist seemed to have taken the blame for them. "Hee, since we have a battleship, then we should go over earlier. Since there are already people there, if we're late, then all the good things will be taken away by them." Little Seven said. "But if we leave now, what about the people from Yin Yang Palace?" Han Miao Shuang asked. "They don't need us to do anything. The spirit beasts in the sea will naturally take care of them." Sima Yue said, "But we have to think of a way to get them to go to the sea. We don't know them well on the surface. How can we get them to go to the sea?" Sima Yue thought for a while, looked at Kong Sangyi and Kong Xiangqi saying, "We'll have to trouble you guys." Kong Sangyi was surprised, but he didn't ask anything. "What do you need us to do?" This book came from Chapter 1085. Sima Yue whispered a few words into Kong Sangyi's ears. Kong Sangyi nodded and left with the people from Kong Valley. To see the latest chapter, please go to Yu. What did you ask them to do? Little Seven asked curiously. "Curious baby, you'll know in a while." Sima Yue pinched Little Seven's cheeks and said. Little Seven patted Sima Yue's hand and pouted. "Fine, I won't tell you." She wasn't a curious baby. Sima Yue smiled and looked at the sea. Ruins? On the other side, Kong Sangyi and Kong Xiangqi led the Kong Valley people to the shore. The Yin Yang Palace people were not far away. "Big brother, why are there so many people here?" Kong Sangyi asked. Kong Xiangqi furrowed his brows and said, "I don't know. Why don't we ask around?" Kong Xiangqi said. "They must have found some treasure. Otherwise, why would there be so many people?" Kong Sangyi said. "Go and ask them. Why would they tell us?" "That's true." Kong Xiangqi sighed. "If there really was a treasure, everyone would have to hide it. Why would they tell them?" "Isn't that an elder of the Yin Yang Palace?" "Big brother, let's go and take a look." Kong Sangyi acted as if he had just seen the people from the Yin Yang Palace. The people from the Yin Yang Palace noticed them while they were talking, but they didn't pay any attention to them. Now that they had come looking for him, he couldn't just ignore them because of their previous friendship. "Elder Wu, you're here too?" Kong Xiangqi walked over and greeted Elder Wu. "So it's Xiangyi and Xiangqi. Why are you here too?" Elder Wu said with a fake smile. "I saw that there were quite a lot of people when you came in. Why are there only these few now?" At the mention of this, Kong Sangyi could not hide the sadness and anger on his face. He said, "Previously we were chased by someone. If we didn't run fast enough, I'm afraid we would have been wiped out. When he was escaping, he saw that everyone was rushing here, so he followed to see what was going on. Elder Wu, you came earlier than us. Do you know what happened here?" What she said was true, and her feelings were also true. Elder Wu naturally believed her. "Well, actually, it's nothing much. There are some treasures ahead, but they are isolated by the sea." Elder Wu said, avoiding the important points. "There's a treasure?" Kong Sangyi's eyes flashed with joy. "Since it's isolated by the sea, we can just fly over." As she spoke, she felt a little restless. "If only it were that simple, then we wouldn't be stuck here." Another elder of the Yin Yang Palace said in a strange tone. "What's wrong? Can't we fly?" Kong Sangyi asked. "I can't. You can't fly in this space. Even flying beasts can't fly over. The only way is through the ocean." Elder Wu said. "Then let's go. As long as there's a boat, it's fine, right?" "A boat won't do." Elder Wu looked at the few small boats on the beach and said, "The seawater here is lighter. Normal boats can't drag it at all. A boat like this will sink." "Then doesn't that mean we can't go over?" Kong Sangyi cried out, looking at the sea with a face full of regret. "Yes. Everyone is thinking of a way here to see if we can go over. It's just that our Yin-Yang Palace hasn't thought of a way yet. Xiangyi, your Kong Valley has many weapon refiners. Can you refine a special boat?" This was the real reason why Elder Wu was paying attention to them. Kong Sangyi sighed and said, "Our weapon refiners all died in the previous chase. There are only 2 left, but their ranks aren't very high. If we want to refine a boat, I'm afraid it'll take at least 10 days to half a month." "So long." Elder Wu frowned. It was such a waste to tell them all this information. If they had to wait that long, they might as well wait for the seawater to change 3 days later. Kong Sangyi naturally knew what he was thinking in his heart, but he didn't show it on his face. He only said regretfully, "Yes, but luckily there are still 2 weapon refiners. It's just that I don't know if they can refine a special boat." "Elder Wu, you've told us such important information. If we can go over, we'll definitely bring you along." The elder just now snorted coldly. He flung his sleeves and went to the other side. Elder Wu smiled. "If that's the case, then I'll have to trouble you, little nephew." "Yeah, look, there's a boat." Suddenly, someone shouted. Everyone looked towards the source of the voice and saw a huge ship appear on the surface of the sea. "Whose boat is that? It can actually float on the sea. Such a big boat, how many people can it hold? I'm more curious about whose boat it is. Can we take a ride? Look at the people on the boat. Aren't they from Heartbreak Valley?" "That's right, the one wearing the mask is the Valley Lord of Heartbreak Valley." After Shimin Feng got on the boat, the other disciples of Heartbreak Valley also followed. A group of people stood on the deck and looked at the people below. They were very impressive. "It's really Heartbreak Valley? How can Heartbreak Valley have such a boat? I'm afraid they must have spent a lot of money to build it." "Don't think that Heartbreak Valley is a new force. Their strength is simply far beyond us. Say, if we ask them to take a ride, will they agree? Look at those people and you'll know if they will or not." The people of Bloodfiend City were all ferocious. They released a murderous aura from their bodies, causing those who had ulterior motives to retreat. On this side, the people of Yin-Yang Palace and Kong Valley also saw it. Kong Sangyi saw Sima Yue slowly getting on the boat and shouted, "Aya, isn't that Yue? Little sister, do you know her?" Kong Xiangqi asked. "I know her. I'm quite familiar with her." Kong Sangyi said, "We've been through some things together. We can be considered friends. Then if you ask her to take us along, will she agree?" Kong Xiangqi asked in surprise. "She will definitely agree." Kong Sangyi said excitedly, "Yue is very nice and warm. With my friendship with her, it's not a problem for us to bring everyone in the valley. Big brother, I'll go and stop them first. Otherwise their boat will leave. Yue. Yue." After speaking, she ran towards Sima Yue's boat. Kong Xiangqi also wanted to run over, but Elder Wu grabbed his arm. "Xiangqi, you said before that if you can build a boat you can bring us over. Now that you're like this, can you talk to Heartbreak Valley and bring us over?" "Bring you?" Kong Xiangqi was hesitant. "I don't know Sima Yue. Look, only little sister knows them. Now that little sister is going over, I don't know if she can bring you along. Why don't you come with us and see if it's okay?" Chapter 1086. Sima Yue heard the cheers as soon as she got on the boat. "Yue, Yue." She turned around and saw Kong Sangyi running towards her. "Xiangyi? Why are you here?" Sima Yue pretended to be surprised and smiled at Kong Sangyi. They had been at the back of the crowd just now, so no one had seen them together. Therefore, when they saw the 2 sides meet, it did not arouse any suspicion. "I just got here too," Kong Sangyi said. "Yue, are you going to the other side of the sea?" "Yes." Sima Yue did not hide the truth. "Then can you bring us there too?" Sima Yue hesitated for a moment and nodded. "You saved my life last time. It's my duty to bring you guys there." Kong Sangyi smiled and said, "Thank you, Xiangyi." Elder Wu and Kong Xiangqi came over and looked at her. Their intentions were self-evident. Kong Sangyi was also a smart person. He immediately understood what he meant. "Well?" She looked at Sima Yue awkwardly. "Yue, can you bring the people from Yinyang Palace over as well?" Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. "Are you close? I promised Elder Wu just now that if I go over, I'll bring them along. Is that okay?" "No way." Shimin Feng walked over and refused directly. "Valley Lord, Sima Yue looked at Shimin Feng with an expression of respect. Yue, we already have a lot of people. We brought Sky Ghost Valley because they saved your life. Huayang Palace has nothing to do with us, Shimin Feng said. But I promised Xiang Yi that I would agree to her request. Anything. Sima Yue was in a difficult position. She did not want to break her promise. Yue, Valley Lord, you won't let me become a person who eats his words, right? Hearing Sima Yue's words, Shimin Feng was speechless. That's right. Yue promised me. Kong Sengyi winked at Elder Wu. Elder Wu immediately understood. He cupped his hands and said, I am an elder of Yenyang Palace. If you can bring us along, we will definitely be grateful. Then, will you share the things you obtained with us? Seven asked. Elder Wu didn't expect them to ask such a question in front of everyone. Wasn't this taking advantage of the situation? But seeing Shimin Feng's I don't care if you want to sit or not appearance, she could only restrain the anger in her heart and said with a smile, if you take us there, we will give you 20% of the treasures we get. 40%. Shimin Feng said. The corners of Elder Wu's mouth twitched and he said, 30%, that's the most. Shimin Feng was silent for a moment, then said, you can only stay on the deck. With that he turned and left the deck. Sima Yue saw that he didn't object, so she waved at Kong Sengyi and said, Xiang Yi, come up. Elder Wu, let's go. Kong Sengyi excitedly went up. The people from Kong Valley and Yenyang Palace also went up one after another, making the people at the side envious. If only they had a good relationship with Sima Yue, then they would be able to get a seat. In their eyes, Sima Yue was very stupid. How could she bring others along at this time? For someone to do such a thing, other than stupid, what else could be used to describe them? At the same time, they also understood one thing. Sima Yue's position in Heartbreak Valley was very high. Even the Valley Lord had to give her some face. After the people from Kong Valley and Yenyang Palace went up, Sima Yue ordered the ship to set off. Seven leisurely sat in the control room and started the ship. The ship slowly left the coast and set off towards the small island. It slowly became smaller in everyone's eyes and finally disappeared. The people on the shore were envious. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and build the ship. The sea water changes every 5 days. Now more than 2 days have passed. They are only 2 days ahead of us. They probably won't get any treasures. Some people comforted themselves. That's right. The people who go first may not get the treasures. Someone agreed, this treasure is not something that can be obtained by whoever goes first. It depends on fate. I think you guys are saying sour grapes because you can't eat them. Wait until they find all the treasures in the historical remains. Let's see if you can still say that. Humph, so what if they get it? No one can say for sure who the treasures will belong to in the end. Alright, the person who said this must have made up his mind to rob them. Do you dare to rob Heartbreak Valley? Someone at the side secretly mocked. Don't forget their identity. Aren't you afraid that the entire bird clan will take revenge on you? There are so many people in Bloodfiend City. Can you beat them? Don't rob them today and get your clan exterminated tomorrow. Violet Water Dragon Clan is the overlord of the Ninth Star Ocean. Do you dare to touch their little prince? The person who said that just now had dense sweat on his forehead. He was obviously scared by these people. I was just saying. How would I dare to rob them? However, the Immortal Land is so big and there are so many people coming in. They won't all be afraid of them, right? At least the Ghost Clan and Demon Clan wouldn't be afraid. Who knows? Don't forget who her masters are. One is Su Jin, one is Old Man Devil, one is Feng Zhixing. These people have a certain influence in the inner region. Old Man Devil and Su Jin haven't been seen for many years. Who knows where they went? As for that Feng Zhixing, they are from the inner region. As the saying goes, distant water can't put out a nearby fire. Hee, if you're not afraid, then you go ahead. I don't have the guts. I'm talking about others. AI thinking so much. It's better to build the ship earlier. Yeah, that's true. What are you spacing out for? Hurry up and build the ship. Yes, young sect leader. The people from Huayang Palace and Kong Valley were on the deck. The disciples from Heartbreak Valley were also standing on the deck. Most of them had their arms crossed and stared at them. Xiang Yi, you guys find a place to sit. I'll go down and take a look. Sima Yue smiled at Kong Sengyi. Are you going to the control room? Can you bring me along? Kong Sengyi asked excitedly. It was her first time seeing a ship. She had seen ships flying in the sky before and was very curious at that time. Sima Yue hesitated and said, Okay, but you can't casually touch the things inside. If you break it, we'll have to stay on the sea. Don't worry. Kong Sangyi patted his chest and promised. Then come with me. The others saw that Kong Sangyi followed Sima Yue down and were very envious. They were also very curious and wanted to go down and take a look. Unfortunately, they didn't have that kind of relationship and couldn't let Yue bring them down. When Sima Yue and Kong Sangyi went down, Little Seven was sitting on the chair. Her 2 feet were on the steering wheel and she was leisurely nibbling on her radish. Chapter 1087. Crazy Wife, 5th Miss Godly Doctor. Chapter 1087. Little Dream Regains Her Memories. Chapter 1087. Little Dream regains her memories. Kong Sangyi didn't have to act like he didn't know anyone when he came down. Seeing Little Seven's carefree look, he laughed. Look at our Little Seven's carefree look. I just realized that I've finished all the pills you made for me. I can only chew on carrots now. Little Seven sat up and passed the ingredients in her hands to Sima Yue. Sima Yue took the ingredients and condensed a flame. Using the flame as a cauldron, she refined the ingredients into pills. TSK, your pill refining skills are indeed worthy of the first place in the alchemy competition. Kong Sangyi exclaimed. Sima Yue kept the pills properly and passed them to Little Seven, saying, You guys stay here and watch. I'll go in and check on Little Dream. Little Dream hasn't woken up yet? Little Seven asked. Not yet. Little Spirit said that Little Dream is a little unstable. I'll go in and check on her. After speaking, she flashed into the Spirit Pagoda. Kong Sangyi went to Little Seven's side and looked at the buttons curiously. Little Seven, since you're free now, why don't you teach me how to turn this on? She smiled at Little Seven. Sure. Little Roar agreed on Little Seven's behalf before Little Seven agreed. Little Seven knew that Little Roar always had some weird ideas. Since he agreed so quickly, he must have some ideas. Hence, she nodded, saying, Sure. Really? Thank you, Little Seven. The excited Kong Sangyi didn't know that he had fallen into their trap. In the Spirit Pagoda, Sima Yue went in and saw a group of beasts guarding Little Dream. How's Little Dream? She's been like this the whole time. She hasn't woken up yet. Thousand Resonance said. Sima Yue went to the bedside. Little Dream was huddled together, her body trembling uncontrollably. Her tears were like a broken string of pearls that couldn't stop flowing. Her pale face scrunched up, her face was filled with fear and terror. Her hatred had already eroded to the bone. No matter which one of us approached her, her reaction was very strong. They'll kick and punch us, Ye Guang said with heartache. As Sima Yue's beasties, they had never encountered such a situation before. Their hearts ached for her, but there was nothing they could do. Sima Yue walked over and hugged Xiaomeng. Xiaomeng wanted to hit her, but she hugged her tightly. Little Dream, it's me. Don't be afraid, I'm here with you. Sima Yue patted Xiaomeng's back and comforted her. Perhaps because of the contract, Xiaomeng was much better in her arms. She did not punch or kick her. Instead, she subconsciously hugged her and even let out a low whimper. Sima Yue could feel the pain in her heart and her eyes reddened. She felt as if she had returned to the time when she had just regained her memories. At that time she had also felt this terrible. Little Dream, don't be afraid. Those are all memories of the past. You are very safe now. I will always be with you. She patted Xiaomeng's back and comforted her. Weren't Xiaomeng's memories sealed? How did it become like this all of a sudden? Ye Guang asked. Xiaomeng's seal was not very strong. After so many years, the thing in her body has been wearing down the seal. It was because of this that I was able to see her memories when I made a contract with her. Sima Yue said with heartache. Coupled with the stimulation from the Devil Clan, the thing in her body exerted its strength and broke the seal in an instant. Xiaomeng is so pitiful. Ling Long did not cry, but she felt sad for her. Do you know what the thing in her body is? Thousand Resonance asked. Everything that Xiaomeng had suffered was caused by the thing in her body. If not for it, there would not have been any of these things. Sima Yu shook her head. In Little Dream's memories, no one has ever said what that thing is. However, everyone knows that if you obtain that thing, it will increase your cultivation. If you can put it in your heart, it will make you immortal. You want Xiaomeng to be like this? Yeah. Xiaomeng had already calmed down in Sima Yue's arms, but her frowning eyebrows and pale face showed that she had not fully recovered. Sima Yue hugged Xiaomeng. If not for her immortal body, she would not have to suffer so much. Sometimes, living was not as good as one thought. Many times, living was more painful than dying. When Xiaomeng wakes up, I wonder how she will face her memories. Thousand Resonance said. When Sima Yue recalled the past, she looked like she was on the verge of breaking down. Just thinking about it made them scared. Xiaoming's experience was so similar to hers. Because of her, her family was exterminated. They could not imagine what would happen to the innocent Xiaoming when she found out about the past. Sigh, hiss hiss. Don't be afraid. Little golden snake woke up unknowingly. It circled around Sima Yue's shoulder and spoke to Xiaoming in a broken language. Little golden snake, you're awake? Sima Yue saw little golden snake and said happily. Awake, Xiaoming. Little golden snake spoke very slowly, like a baby who was learning how to speak. Xiaoming's body is fine. Sima Yue said, but her body broke through the seal. It's not good now. Protect her. Little golden snake said slowly. Are you saying that you want to protect Xiaoming? Sima Yue asked. Little golden snake nodded. Protect. Little golden snake is so obedient. Sima Yue patted little golden snake's head and said happily. It knew that it wanted to protect them. She did not feed it so many good things in vain. Little golden snake, are you not going to protect us? Little rock looked at little golden snake and wanted to tease it. It protected Yue and Yue protected them. Was that what it meant? Let me die. Let me die. Xiaoming suddenly screamed. Her body kept struggling in Sima Yue's arms, and she suddenly used her hand to grab her chest. Xiaoming. Wake up. Sima Yue grabbed Xiaoming's hand, not letting her hurt herself. Let me die. Let me die with them. Sima Yue's words did not have any effect on Xiaoming. She was still screaming and struggling. Xiaoming. Sima Yue used all her strength to restrain her, not letting her hurt herself. However, she was hurt by her strength. Xiaoming, you hurt Yu. Ye Guang and the rest shouted. The shout was very effective. Xiaoming quietened down immediately. Ugh. Sima Yue's mouth dripped with blood, and it happened to drip onto Xiaoming's forehead. Maybe it was because she smelled the blood. Xiaoming's tightly shut eyes finally opened slowly. Seeing the blood on Sima Yue's mouth, Xiaoming thought of the memories she saw in her dream, and tears fell from her eyes. Yu, I'm sorry. Chapter 1088. Xiaoming's apology made everyone's tears flow down. Sima Yue smiled at her and said, I'm fine. Xiaoming couldn't say anything. She could only hug Sima Yue and cry. At first it was a soft sob, but later on, it became a loud wail. She cried until she almost fainted. Sima Yue understood how she felt. Back then she had almost broken down, let alone someone as innocent as her. She understood that it was useless to say anything now. Only when Little Dream endured it herself would she truly get better. All she could do was to quietly accompany her and let her know that no matter what happened, they would always be with her. Sima Yue cried along with Xiaoming. Her tears fell on Xiaoming's face and mixed with her tears. I understand, Xiaoming. I understand your feelings, your pain, and your hatred. If you want to cry, then cry. If you want revenge, then we will accompany you. Even if we turn the demon world upside down, we will accompany you. Yu. Little Dream cried, why me? Why did that thing grow on her body? Why did it bring her so much harm? Little Dream let out a long howl and suddenly reached out to dig at her chest. All 5 of her fingers sank into her body. Xiaoming, what are you doing? Sima Yue did not expect her to do that and was a little slow in stopping her. Xiaoming pulled her hand out of her body, and a lot of blood spurted out from her chest. Little Dream lowered her head and looked at the blood that kept flowing out. After being hit in the heart, other than bleeding and becoming weak, it did not take away her life. Yu, look, he won't die. He wouldn't die. Little Dream looked at the blood on her hand. She couldn't bear the pressure and cried out hysterically. When Sima Yue saw Xiaoming like this, she somewhat understood how they felt when they saw her break down. She hugged Little Dream tightly and pressed her head against her forehead, saying, Little Dream, this isn't your fault. Your clansmen don't blame you either. Until they die, they are still thinking about how to protect you. No matter how many things they went through outside, they didn't want you to know. That's why you became such a cute you. Did you forget what your mother said before she left? She said to let you live well. Little Dream remembered the last words her mother said to her. Live well, escape, live well. But she didn't manage to escape. She was captured and tortured for so many years. In the end, she was sealed and suppressed. How sad would her mother be if she knew? She closed her eyes and her tears flowed uncontrollably. When she opened her eyes again, that pair of innocent, cute, and sometimes mischievous eyes had changed. Now, her tears were only filled with pain and hatred. Little Ming, no matter what you want to do, we will accompany you. Little Peng said emotionally from the side. Yes, yes. You their heart's eyes, you and in her pains. LSC you and SUUs Little Dream thanked them, but she felt as if something was stuck in her chest and she couldn't say anything. Xiao. Yeah. So. Ming. Little golden snake slithered down and circled around Little Dream's neck, rubbing its head against Little Dream. It was telling Little Dream that Little Golden Snake was with Little Dream. Little Roar, who was playing happily outside, suddenly cried, scaring Little Seven and Kong Sangyi. Little Roar, what's wrong? I was just joking with you. Kong Sangyi said helplessly. Little Dream. Woo Little Dream. I want to go in. Little Roar cried. Sima Yue heard Little Roar's request and kept him inside. Little Roar saw Little Dream's current state and cried. He threw himself onto Little Dream's body, not caring that the blood had dyed his beloved white fur black. Woo Little Dream, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have played outside. I should have been with you. Woo. When Little Roar came in, everyone was stunned by his crying. The way he cried was even more exaggerated than Little Dream. Little Dream let go of Sima Yue's hand and stroked Little Roar. She saw that the fur under his eyes was wet from his tears. His eyes were filled with regret as the tears in his eyes flowed even harder. Little Dream, don't cry. I'll accompany you to beat the bad guys. Little Roar climbed up and came to Little Dream's neck, sobbing as he spoke. Sima Yue was stunned by Little Roar's actions. Did something happen that she did not know about? After a while, Little Dream finally recovered and said, Thank you all. Thank you all for accompanying me. What are you thanking me for? We're a family. Sima Yue said, You should recuperate here first. Once you're better, we'll go find those Devil Clan people to collect interest. Since Luo Li and the rest came in, there will definitely be other Devil Clan people who came in. The powers that went to capture you last time were huge. This time there will definitely be many who came in. Yes. Little Dream nodded. Sima Yue grabbed onto Little Dream's hand, which was still covered in black blood. Don't do something like this next time. You live to kill the enemy, not to hurt yourself. Do you understand? I understand. Little Dream saw the black and red blood on Sima Yue's body and said apologetically, I'm sorry Yu. I hurt you. It's good that you're fine. Sima Yue used her other hand to pat Little Dream's head as she spoke. I'll be fine. I'll go and find them to take revenge. Little Dream said. It's good that you can think like that. Sima Yue said, They're calling me from outside. I'm going out. Recuperate well and try to recover as soon as possible. After the seal was broken, my strength seems to have increased by quite a bit. Once I've adapted to the current situation, I'll go out. Little Dream said. Alright, we'll wait for you. Sima Yue kissed her on the forehead, then went to change her clothes and went out. The moment she went out, Little Seven and Kong Sangyi could smell the faint scent of blood on her body. Chapter 1089. Yue, what happened? Kong Sangyi asked worriedly. Just now Little Roar's appearance really gave them a fright. They had never seen him like this before. Yu, did something happen to Little Dream? Why do you have the smell of blood on you? Little Seven asked. Nothing. Sima Yue did not want others to know about Little Dream's current state, so she changed the topic and asked, Why did you call for me? Oh, it's like this. Just now, Old Bai came down and said that someone wanted to enter the room but was rejected. Little Seven said. So be it. Sima Yue didn't think much of it. The people of the Yin-Yang Palace didn't have long to live anyway. Now that they had left the coast, even if they killed them, no one would be able to see it. As for whether or not they would guess in the future, that was none of her business. Without conclusive evidence, even Yin-Yang Palace would not dare to do anything to Heartbreak Valley. You've implicated us. That's true. Sima Yue said, but if we take action and their bodies are found, they will definitely suspect us. Then what should we do? Seven asked. Sima Yue thought for a while and said, Let's think of a way to lock them up and throw them out when we reach the island. Then use poison to poison them. Little Seven said, Since you have so many poisons, you can easily get rid of them. They're all cultivators. It's not that easy to poison them. Kong Sangyi said. Then think of a way, Sima Yue said. I have an idea, but I don't know if it will work. Little Seven said faintly. What is it? The solution is. Little Seven said with a sinister smile. In the evening, Kong Sangyi and Sima Yue finally returned to the deck. When Kong Xiangqi saw Kong Sangyi, he asked, Why did you guys go down for so long? I saw that little Seven was having a lot of fun, so I asked her to teach me for a while. Who knew that I would come up so late? Kong Sangyi replied with a smile. She taught you? Yes, I did. Kong Sangyi nodded. I already told you that I have a good relationship with them. Even if your relationship is good, you can't go and cause trouble for others. What if she gets angry and throws us off halfway? As he spoke, Kong Xiangqi looked at the people from Heartbreak Valley, as if they would be thrown down if they were angered. Big brother, don't worry. Yue won't do that. Right, Yue? Kong Sangyi asked. Sima Yue smiled at Kong Xiangqi. Xiangyi is my friend. I won't throw them down. See, I told you it wouldn't happen, Kong Sangyi said. Even so, you can't be impudent, Kong Xiangqi warned. I know. Kong Sangyi curled his lips at Kong Xiangqi. This fella was practically warning a child. Oh right, Yue, you said last time that you would cook for me when we meet again. Does that still count? When have I ever not counted? Sima Yue retorted. Then can you cook for me now? Little sister. Kong Xiangqi glared at Kong Sangyi. Junior Valley Master, don't be angry. This is what I promised Xiangyi. Sima Yue said. Since we know each other, let's drink some wine and eat some meat to celebrate. Elder Wu, why don't you all join us? Elder Wu and the others had been listening from the side the entire time. When they saw that Sima Yue was so cordial towards the Kong Valley's men and had even prepared food for them, they said with a smile, since Vice Valley Master is so cordial, this Wu will respectfully accept. Yue, I want to eat barbecue, Kong Sangyi said. No problem. Why don't we barbecue on the deck? Anyway, the view here is wide and the night sky is not bad. Kong Sangyi suggested. Sima Yue thought about it and nodded. That's fine too. I'll go and prepare some things. She entered the cabin and came out after a while. With a wave of her hand, a huge table appeared on the deck. With another wave of her hand, a pile of prepared ingredients was placed neatly on the table. There were also a few pots and pans. Han Miao Shuang came out of her room the moment she smelled the ingredients. Seeing Sima Yue preparing to cook on the deck, she said, Ha, junior brother, you're going to cook? Why didn't you call me? Sima Yue glanced at her and said, Do you still need me to call you? Your nose is even more sensitive than a spirit beast's. Cough cough, you don't have to say that, right? Han Miao Shuang refused to admit it. Am I wrong? Sima Yue started cooking. Barbecuing meat, stir-frying vegetables, stewing soup, cooking, she did not make any mistakes. If one's mental strength was not super strong, one would not be able to handle so many things at the same time so leisurely. Kong Sangyi took out a table and prepared to eat later. She and Han Miao Shuang sat at the table and watched Sima Yue cook for them. Very quickly, the first batch of barbecued meat was ready. Sima Yue used her spirit energy to wrap it up and placed it on the plate on the table. Big brother, Elder Wu, come and eat. Yu's food is delicious. Kong Sangyi waved at them. Kong Xiangqi, Elder Wu and two other elders sat down. They originally wanted to get closer to her so they could eat together. Now that they smelled the aroma of the barbecued meat, they really had an appetite. Then we won't stand on ceremony, Elder Wu said as he took a skewer of barbecued meat and took a bite impatiently. Kong Xiangqi also took out a skewer and ate it. The taste almost made him swallow his own tongue. He finally understood that Kong Sangyi did not let Sima Yue cook for them just to trick them. This thing was really delicious. How is it? Kong Sangyi looked at him as if she was waiting for a compliment. It was as if she was the one who made it. This is the best barbecued meat I've ever eaten, Elder Wu exclaimed at the side. He finished one skewer in a few bites. Before he put down the metal skewer in his left hand, he picked up another skewer with his right hand and continued eating. The people in Yin Yang Palace had never seen their elders eat without caring about their image. They thought that the barbecued meat tasted really good. Just by smelling the aroma, they could not help but salivate. Sima Yue served a freshly cooked dish. Elder Wu immediately recognized it. Isn't this Memory Restaurant's braised lion's head? This is their exclusive dish. Vice Valley Lord, how did you know how to make it? I taught the chefs to make it. Of course I know how to make it myself, Sima Yue said. You're saying that Memory Restaurant is also Heartbreak Valley's property? Sima Yue smiled but did not say anything. Then you must have Memory Restaurant's exclusive fruit wine? Elder Wu's eyes lit up as he asked. Chapter 1090. That's right, Yue, how can there be no wine when there's meat? Kong Sangyi said, the fruit wine you gave me last time, I finished it in a few days. Fruit wine? Elder Wu, do you want some? Sima Yue asked. When Elder Wu heard what Kong Sangyi said, he was even more certain that Sima Yue must have a lot of fruit wine. I've been to Memory Restaurant a few times and have a deep impression of the delicious food and wine there. It's a pity that the things there can't be taken out, so I haven't had a chance to drink the fruit wine. Elder Wu said. More than that. Kong Sangyi continued, Yue, it's not that I want to criticize you, but Memory Restaurant is really too stingy. Every time you go to eat, you actually limit the alcohol. Everyone can only order so much wine. Once we finish it, there won't be any left. I can't drink to my heart's content every time I go. Didn't you say that last time? Didn't I give you a few jars to satisfy your craving? Sima Yue said. Speaking of which, I've developed a few more flavors of fruit wine. Really? Then quickly take it out and let us taste it. Kong Sangyi shouted. So those fruit wines were all brewed by you, Vice Valley Lord? Elder Wu said, I wonder if we will be lucky enough to drink the newly brewed fruit wine tonight. Every once in a while, Memory Restaurant would release a new fruit wine. As a result, there were more and more types of fruit wine. Even if you didn't like this one, there would always be one that you would like. When the other restaurants saw that Memory Restaurant's fruit wine was selling so well, they all went to study how the fruit wine was brewed. Unfortunately, there were so many hotels, but none of them tasted as good as Memory Restaurant. Therefore, even though Memory Restaurant's fruit wine was very expensive and they could only drink a little each time they went, there were still many people who flocked to it. That's good. You guys can give me a taste. With a thought, Sima Yue produced a few jars of fruit wine in front of everyone. As soon as the jars were opened, the aroma instantly aroused everyone's appetite. This smell is even better than before. Kong Sangyi praised from the bottom of his heart. Isn't it? Quickly give it to me. Han Miao Shuang couldn't wait to pour a bowl for herself. Pour some for me, pour some for me. Kong Xiangyi waited for her to pour some before she took the wine jar and poured herself a bowl. I'll try it too. The others also poured a bowl one after another. How is it? Sima Yu looked at them, waiting for their evaluation after drinking. It's super delicious. It tastes even better than before. Kong Xiangyi said without exaggeration. When Sima Yu heard this, she smiled with satisfaction and said, as long as it tastes good. That's for sure. The fruit I used this time contains a lot more spiritual energy. The fruit wine will naturally not be bad. Sima Yu said with a smile. Hehe Yu, how much fruit wine did you brew? Kong Sangyi hugged the wine jar and looked at her. Not much. Sima Yu knew what she was thinking when she saw her expression. I haven't sent the fruit wine to all the shops. I can't give it to you. You still have so long to go out. Kong Sangyi said, you can give it to them after you go out. Alright? Seeing Sima Yue hesitating, she continued to plead, how about this, I'll buy it like last time. How about that? You really want to buy it? Sima Yue asked. Yes, more real than pearls. Kong Sangyi said with certainty, as long as you're willing to sell it to me, money is not a problem. Alright. Since you're so forthright, I can sell these jars of wine to you. Sima Yu said, however, the price is a little higher than before. It's all right. Kong Sangyi immediately took out a crystal card. You can swipe as much as you want. Just give me the fruit wine. All right. Sima Yue took the crystal card and casually swiped a number of spirit stones. Then, she returned the crystal card to her and gave her a few jars of fruit wine. Thank you, Yue. Kong Sangyi smiled as she kept the fruit wine. When the others saw the two of them closing the deal, they were shocked at their speed. At the same time, they felt that Kong Sangyi was very lucky to know the owner of Memory Restaurant. Vice Valley Lord, since you've already sold the fruit wine to Xiang Yi, can't you sell some to us? Elder Wu said half-jokingly. Elder Wu, you're too kind. Sima Yue suppressed the disgust in her heart and forced herself to continue smiling at him. We limited the amount of wine in Memory Restaurant because there were too many customers. If we didn't limit it, no matter how much wine we brewed, it wouldn't be enough. But this doesn't mean that we won't open the back door for our friends. So it's all right? Of course. Sima Yue said, but there are only a few jars of this newly brewed wine. Xiang Yi has already bought all of them. If Elder Wu wants some, we can only buy the ones that were brewed before. Although he was slightly disappointed when he heard that the one he was drinking now was gone, he thought that the other wines were still delicious. He nodded and said, if it's from before, then so be it. Even if it's from before, it's still priceless. Yue, Elder Wu has always taken care of me and my brother. If you sell the fruit wine to him, you have to give him a discount. Otherwise your price is too high. Kong Sangyi said. Hee. Elder Wu looked at Kong Sangyi with satisfaction and decided to treat Kong Sangyi better in the future. At least if he could help in the future he would help him out. Then we'll go according to the restaurant's price and give you a 20% discount. How's that? Sima Yue asked. Then I'll have to thank Vice Valley Lord. Elder Wu was overjoyed. Other than the Members' Day, Memory Restaurant never gave discounts. However, it was hard to get a seat during the Members' Day. Even if there was a discount, it would only be a 10% discount. No one had ever given a 20% discount before. Then what kind of fruit wine does Elder Wu want? Sima Yue asked. What kind do you have? I have all kinds. Sima Yue said, as long as it's from Memory Restaurant, I have it here. Then you have a lot? Memory Restaurant had close to 100 types of fruit wine. If she had all of them, then wouldn't she have at least 100 jars? It's not that much. Sima Yue said, some fruit wines only have a few jars. Some have more, tens to hundreds of jars. That will depend on what flavor Elder Wu wants. When everyone heard this, they all wanted to buy the wine. They couldn't help but swallow their saliva. Then give me a few jars. Elder Wu said excitedly. He had plenty of money, but if he missed out on this fruit wine, then so be it. One hand handed over the money, and the other hand handed over the goods. Very quickly, the transaction was completed, and Sima Yu received another large sum of money. Since Elder Wu bought so much, how about this? I'll give you some for free. At the same time, I'll satisfy everyone's cravings. Sima Yu said. Chapter 1091. After Sima Yu said that, the entire deck became quiet and then burst into laughter. Owl? Vice Valley Lord, is what you said true? An Ione shouted. You guys don't stand a chance. Sima Yu glanced at him. These wines are for Yin Palace and Kong Valley. If you also pay for a few dozen jars of fruit wine, I'll give it to you. Vice Valley Lord, you can't be like this. An Ione wailed. What about me? Sima Yu said, I'm telling the truth. There are people who bought the fruit wine. If you want to drink it, you have to buy it. But aren't you also our Vice Valley Lord? An Ione whispered. You can't drink if you don't buy it. Sima Yu waved her hand and dozens of jars of wine appeared on the deck. Come on. You're really giving it to us? The Kong Valley's people asked in disbelief. The disciples of the Kong Valley excitedly hugged the jugs of wine and started to divide them up. When the disciples of the Yin Palace saw that they were all drinking, they also went to get their own jugs. When Sima Yu saw that everyone was drinking, she lowered her head and continued to roast the meat for everyone. A meaningful smile appeared on her face. Vice Valley Lord, why haven't I seen your Valley Lord come out? Elder Wu was eating delicacies and drinking fine wine. He was overjoyed when he recalled that Sima Yu was the only one outside. The Valley Lord, he doesn't like to interact with people and doesn't go out much. He was like this in the valley too, Sima Yu replied casually. Recalling what Shimin Feng had told her before, she shook her head helplessly. I won't be going out for a few days. When I see them, I only want to kill them. I'm afraid that I'll reveal my killing intent and arouse their suspicion. He probably wouldn't want to come out as long as the Yin Palace's people were here. I didn't expect you to become the Vice Valley Lord at such a young age. You're truly a young hero. Elder Wu said sincerely. I was just lucky. If it wasn't for those things, I wouldn't have made it this far. Sima Yu said. Vice Valley Lord, you are so humble. Elder Wu smiled and said. These things are delicious. Han Miao Shuang praised as she ate. To be able to eat such delicious food and drink such delicious wine, this life is so good. Kong Xiangyi sighed as well. Why do I feel a little dizzy? A disciple from the Kong Valley cried out. I'm also a little dizzy. Another disciple frowned and said. Haha, you guys can get drunk on this fruit wine? However, before he could finish his words, he also felt a little dizzy. Did I drink too much? Dong, before he could finish his sentence, he fell to the ground. Following that, people fell one after another, regardless of whether they were from the Yin Palace or the Kong Valley. Elder Wu also felt a little dizzy. When he saw Sima Yu stop what she was doing, he immediately became alert. What did you do to us? He stared at Sima Yu and stood up from his seat. His strength caused the chair to fall to the ground. Sima Yu held the barbecued meat skewer in her hand and looked at him calmly. Kong Xiangqi saw that all the disciples in the valley had fallen and panicked. However, when he saw Kong Sangyi calmly sitting in his seat, he didn't get up. Little sister, this is... Kong Sangyi ate a mouthful of barbecued meat before standing up. He took out a jade bottle and walked in front of the Kong Valley disciples. He let them sniff it lightly and they regained their strength. What's going on? You guys are in cahoots. Elder Wu finally reacted. He looked at Kong Sangyi and then at Sima Yue. I finally reacted. Kong Sangyi returned to his seat and said while eating, you guys did it on purpose. Elder Wu finally understood what was going on. You guys had planned this beforehand to lure us onto this ship. That's right. Elder Wu, you reacted quickly. Kong Sangyi raised his wine glass and toasted him. What? Elder Wu looked at Kong Sangyi. He didn't understand why she did this. There shouldn't be any hatred between them. He looked at Sima Yue. He couldn't recall any hatred between Yin Yang Palace and Heartbreak Valley. What? He couldn't figure it out. He couldn't think of an answer. What? Sima Yue walked over and stepped on Elder Wu. Do you know me? Elder Wu subconsciously wanted to say that he didn't know her. However, when he saw Sima Yue asking this question, he felt that the answer wasn't right. We haven't met before, right? He thought for a while but still couldn't think of any interactions between them. That's true. You haven't seen me like this before. Sima Yue said. But there's someone you definitely know. Feng, or come out and meet your old friend. Creak. The door to Shimin Feng's room opened. He walked out of the house without a mask on his face. You are... Elder Wu recognized Shimin Feng immediately. His face was full of disbelief. Aren't you already dead? Shimin Feng walked down the stairs slowly. Every step he took was like stepping on Elder Wu's heart. This was impossible. When the people from Zhongzheng clan came back, they said that Shimin Feng was beaten to Heartbreak Valley and was seriously injured before he fell. Normal people wouldn't survive if they went down, let alone him who was already injured. Heartbreak Valley, Heartbreak Valley. He finally understood why they would build their forces in Heartbreak Valley. They had a history. Seems like the incident of destroying my Shimin clan left a deep impression on you. We haven't seen each other for so many years, but you still remember what I look like. Shimin Feng walked over and Sima Yue stepped aside. Aren't you dead? How did you survive? Not only did he survive, but he also built a force in such a short time. It was such a strong force. The heavens didn't want to take my life. They wanted me to live and look for you to repay me. Tell me, how can I dare to die like this? Shimin Feng stepped on Elder Wu's arm. Everyone present heard the sound of bones breaking. This Elder Wu was considered a man. Even though it hurt, he didn't make a sound. What do you want? He gritted his teeth and squeezed out a sentence from the gaps of his teeth. What can we do? The only thing we can do is to pay with blood. Shimin Feng said. When Yin Yang Palace and Zhongzheng clan destroyed my Shimin clan, you were there, right? You saw how those people killed my clansmen one by one. You saw how they burned my Shimin clan to ashes. Tell me, how should I take revenge for this blood feud? Chapter 1092. Elder Wu's pupils constricted as he recalled the night when his clan was exterminated. Even though so many years had passed, he still remembered it clearly. You remember now? If you want to kill me, then kill me. Elder Wu knew that there was no hope for him to escape today. If it was some other misunderstanding, it would be fine, and they could use other methods to resolve it. However, the hatred of the extermination of the clan was not something that could be resolved just like that. Right now, he just wanted to die a quick and painless death. Do you think you can die just because you want to? Shimin Feng moved his foot and looked at the person on the ground with cold eyes. Don't worry, I'll definitely kill you. I'll make you watch yourselves die. Lock them up in the lowest level. Yes, Valley Lord. Although the disciples of Heartbreak Valley knew that the goal of the establishment of Heartbreak Valley was to deal with Yang Palace, Heartbreak Valley and Sage Pavilion, they also knew that there was enmity between them, but they didn't expect it to be such a hatred of extermination. They stepped forward and picked up one person with each hand. They dragged them from the deck to the dark room below the cabin and locked them up. They still had the scent of spirit beasts on them. If they weren't locked up, they would probably attract those sea beasts. Alright, thank you for your cooperation. These wines have not been tampered with, so you can drink them without worry. Sima Yue said to the people on the deck as she put away the previous wine and took out a new wine jar. Hehe, I knew that boss wouldn't forbid us from drinking. And I picked up a jar of wine, tore open the paper and smelled it. So fragrant. You talk too much. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him, but she didn't really blame him. It was a good thing that Sima Yue had enough fruit wine so the entire ship would have enough to drink. Little Spirit saw that they had consumed half of this year's harvest in one night and lamented that these guys could really drink too much. It seemed that he would have to brew more in the future. Otherwise he wouldn't have enough to drink in the future. In the past, because there weren't many people who drank it, he didn't have the freedom to brew it. The spirit fruits in the spirit pagoda had rotted batch after batch. Now he could finally brew more. However, when she thought about how she still had a lot of the wine she brewed in the past, it would be fine if she could find more people to deliver it to her. The ship was controlled by Little Seven and Kong Sangyi for 5 to 6 days before they finally saw the island. Although it was called a small island, the area was actually not small. It was estimated to be half the size of a continent. Xiao Xiao, don't you find it strange? After the ship docked, Han Miao Shuang watched as Sima Yue kept the ship. She looked at the boundless sea and frowned. Something is indeed wrong. We haven't been attacked by any sea beasts on our way here. This is too abnormal. Su Xiao said. That's right, I was wondering if there were no sea beasts in this sea. Later on, we observed from the deck and found that there were quite a lot of sea beasts, but they avoided us when they saw us. Kong Sangyu said. Could it be that those people know they can't beat us, so they took the initiative to avoid us? Little Seven guessed. You haven't even fought with us, how do you know that you can't beat us? And when we passed by their territory, they didn't even ask us anything. Han Miao Shuang said. That's true. Little Seven rubbed her forehead. I can't figure it out. Do you know? I think I can roughly guess what's going on. Sima Yue said. You really know? If I didn't guess wrongly, it should be that my brothers brought the Violet Water Dragon clan here first. When they passed by the sea, they instructed those sea beasts not to touch us. Sima Yue said. How do you know? Sima Yue closed her eyes and sniffed. There's a faint scent of the dragon clan in the air. They should have arrived here not long ago. You can even smell that? Why can't I smell it? Han Miao Shuang sniffed hard, but she couldn't smell the scent of the Violet Water Dragon clan. You haven't been with them for long, so you can't smell it. Sima Yue said. I've known them for a long time and have interacted with them a lot. Naturally, I'm more familiar with their scent. Boss, what do we do with these people? Anayani asked. Find a good place for them to be buried. After Sima Yue finished speaking, she released a swarm of scarlet bees. While there weren't many people, they quickly got into position and stared at the island as much as possible. At the same time, they wanted to see if there were any historical remains here. The people from Heartbreak Valley each carried one person from Huaiyang Palace and followed Sima Yue to the center of the island. They came to a call and threw them to the ground before retreating quickly. What are you doing to us? I advise you to let us go. Otherwise, Huaiyang Palace will definitely find out that you killed us. An elder from Huaiyang Palace said. Who said we were going to kill you? Sima Yue walked over. We don't have the time to kill you. Moreover, we don't have the time to deal with the things that will come after. If you let us go now, we won't pursue the matter of you offending your superiors today. Some people were still very narcissistic, as if they didn't know what would happen. Is there something wrong with this person's brain? Little Seven said. I think so. Otherwise, why would they say such things? Han Miao Shuang said. What exactly are you going to do to us? The people from Huaiyang Palace were anxious. Naturally, we're going to get people to deal with you. Sima Yue said. Didn't you say that Huaiyang Palace will do something to us after they find out? If we didn't do it, how would they find out that it was us? Elder Wu narrowed his eyes. They were unpredictable and he couldn't guess what they were going to do. Throw them to the colonel. After a while, spirit beasts will come to entertain them. Sima Yue ordered. Everyone was thrown to the colonel. You want the spirit beasts to kill us? Elder Wu said. Sima Yue walked over and said, That's right, Elder Wu is smart. It's not difficult to deal with smart people. Elder Wu relaxed a little after hearing what she said. If the spirit beasts were to do it, they wouldn't do anything to him. Perhaps they would be merciful. Are you thinking about how to negotiate with the spirit beasts? Sima Yue said what Elder Wu was thinking. Do you think that since we've chosen this method, we'll give you a way out? When those spirit beasts come and see you, they'll lose their minds in a few breaths. Unless you kill them all, they won't stop. Her words reminded Elder Wu of what happened when they met the spirit beasts. Those spirit beasts rushed over when they saw them. They didn't say anything and just attacked. Now that he thought about it, Sima Yue seemed to have known this long ago. Are you thinking about what happened when you met the spirit beasts? Sima Yue kindly dispelled their doubts. Are you wondering why the spirit beasts we met before were also like this? Chapter 1093. Elder Wu had a bad feeling in his heart. Did Heartbreak Valley attack them from the beginning? However, he immediately overturned his thoughts and said, Impossible, we didn't come in contact with each other after we came in. You couldn't have done anything to us. Those spirit beasts were arranged by you? We don't know where you will be after you come in, so how can we arrange everything? At Yen. Sima Yue said. You poisoned our bodies, so no matter where we go, we will be attacked by spirit beasts. Elder Wu said. Your luck is not bad. You've been here for so long and there are still so many people alive. Sima Yue said, but I don't know if the Zhongzheng clan is as lucky as you. You poisoned us before you came in? When did this happen? You want to be an understanding ghost? There's no harm in telling you. Haven't you noticed that some of our people are familiar with this place? Sima Yue reminded them. After hearing what she said, Elder Wu looked at the people from Heartbreak Valley. When he saw the old ape, his body shook. Our auspicious beast blood was given by you? You poisoned the blood of the auspicious beast. Smart. Sima Yue laughed unscrupulously. By the way, let me tell you something. You have also wronged the Zhongzheng clan for the Shisha Mountain Range incident. So, there's no such thing as internal strife. It's just that you killed all of our people. You even gave us the poisonous blood of the auspicious beast. Elder Wu figured it all out. You turned us against each other. How ruthless. Am I ruthless? Sima Yue's expression changed. She stomped on his chest, almost flattening it. At that time, when you brought people to exterminate my entire Shiman clan, how come I didn't feel that you were ruthless? When you turned my Shiman clan into a sea of flames, why didn't I feel that you were ruthless? Everything that happened today was brought upon by you. Our revenge against you is not even a fraction. Ugh, Elder Wu couldn't breathe. It was as if he saw the Grim Reaper waving at him. It would be better if he could die like this. You want to die just like that? That would be letting you off too easily. Don't worry, I'll definitely let you enjoy the process of death. Watch as the spirit beasts tear off your legs, eat your organs, and dig out your eyeballs. She retracted her leg and Elder Wu could breathe again. Unfortunately, he did not like this feeling at all. Her face was so pretty and she looked so comfortable, but the aura on her body was as if she had crawled out of hell. The words she said made the people of the Yin Yang Palace shudder. Devil. She was a demon. Yue, a spirit beast is coming. This was the first time in his life that he had seen her so crazy. He suddenly understood why she worked so hard to improve herself. But after understanding all this, his heart ached even more for her. Little 11, who was recuperating in the little realm, seemed to have sensed her fury. He moved restlessly and knocked over the wooden tub. Shui Qingman and Wu Lamai got up from the bottom of the water. They wanted to comfort it, but it flew up, flying around in the air. One moment it landed in the water, the next moment it flew out again as if it was looking for someone. What's wrong with little 11? Shui Qingman looked at her child worriedly. I'll bring him back. Wu Lamai flew up from the water and chased after little 11. Little 11 flew everywhere. Every time Wu Lamai wanted to catch him, he would turn and dodge. The father and son chased in the air for a while before stopping. Wu Lamai carried little 11 back. Shui Qingman saw him struggling in Wu Lamai's arms and asked worriedly, Is little 11 feeling unwell? I don't think so, Wu Lamai said. But seeing little 11 so agitated, he was not sure. Why don't we let Yue come in and take a look? It's good to let her take a look, Shui Qingman said. Outside the little realm, Sima Yue took out a few bottles of pills and let Ine and the rest feed them to everyone in the Yin Yang Palace. What did you feed us? Someone asked. A type of pill that will make you extremely excited. As long as you eat this, no matter how painful your body is, you won't faint until you take your last breath. Sima Yue said faintly, You guys can enjoy the last few minutes of your life. Those people were scared silly. She was going to take revenge for them. Even the people from Heartbreak Valley were shocked by Sima Yue's move. Then they became excited. They always thought that although Sima Yue was very powerful, her heart was not hard enough. They didn't expect her to be such a ruthless character. Letting those people watch them die slowly so that they won't faint until they take their last breath, this idea was too good. Yu, are we leaving this place? Little Seven asked. Sima Yue wanted to say to watch from afar, but she heard Shui Qingman calling from the little realm. She changed her words, Let's go into the little realm. She took out a small door and opened the little Black Lotus realm. She brought everyone in and went to the reservoir. Foster mother, what's wrong? Yue, you're finally here. Come and take a look at little 11. He's not normal. Shui Qingman said. Sima Yue's heart tightened when she heard that something happened to little 11. She asked, What's wrong with little 11? He has been very uneasy since the beginning. He couldn't calm down. Your foster father carried him and wanted to run. I don't know where he went now. Shui Qing Man said. Whoosh, little 11 flew over from afar and rushed straight into Sima Yue's arms. Then Wu Lamai also flew over from that direction. This fellow is taking advantage of the fact that I don't dare to make any big movements. That's why he ran so fast. If it was a normal person, I would have caught him long ago. Wu Lamai complained about his son's sneakiness. Yue, quickly take a look at him. What's wrong? Shui Qing Man said. Okay. Sima Yue carried little 11 and looked at him. She didn't find anything wrong with him. Why is he quiet now? Wu Lamai looked at little 11 who was quietly in Sima Yue's arms. He was a little surprised. Little 11 rubbed against Sima Yue's arms as if he was looking for a safe haven. There's nothing wrong. Sima Yue said, Foster mother, what did he do just now? He suddenly became very irritable and flew around randomly. It seemed like he was looking for someone but also seemed like he was venting something. His breathing was messed up. Shui Qing Man said. He was like that too. Don't tell me little 11 became impetuous because of your anger? Little 7 casually made up a story. However, she realized that everyone was staring at her after she finished speaking. She subconsciously shrank her neck. Cough cough, I just said it casually. Hee hee, don't tell me this little fellow has telepathy with Yue? And I and the rest also thought of this and were shocked by this idea. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1094. Don't spout nonsense. Little 11 didn't even form a contract with me. How could he feel my emotions? Sima Yue said. It was understandable that little 11 was close to her. After all, she had nurtured it for a long time. It was normal for it to like her scent. However, this did not mean that their emotions were the same. For a long time, only contracted beasts and their contractors could understand each other. How could there be someone like them? Shui Qing Man and Wu Lamai didn't look too good. Although they liked Sima Yue and treated her as their own daughter, they didn't want their son to become someone else's contracted beast. However, this was indeed strange. Sima Yue was angry outside, so why would little 11, who had been quiet all this while, suddenly become irritable? Fortunately, they were very sure that little 10 had not established a contract with anyone. Otherwise, they would have been suspicious. Perhaps it is because of the contract, Wu Lingyu said. Senior brother? Sima Yue frowned. She did not expect Wu Lingyu to think so too. Don't worry, I didn't say that he made a contract with you. Wu Lingyu said. Then what happened? Wu Lamai asked. Wu Lingyu looked at the disciples of Heartbreak Valley. Sima Yue understood his meaning and chased the others away, leaving only Shimin Feng, little 7, Wu Lamai and his wife. Brother Lingyu, can you tell me now? Little 7 urged. If I'm not wrong, Qi Yan should be the divine vermilion bird. Wu Lingyu said. What? Everyone present cried out. Divine vermilion bird, are you sure? Little 7 jumped up. Sima Yue was also in disbelief. Previously, the four-winged rocks had called her the Crimson Flame Divine Bird, but she had never associated her with the legendary four mythical beasts. Who would have thought that Crimson Flame was actually the legendary Vermilion Bird? However, she should have guessed Crimson Flame's identity earlier. Little Rock was the king of the rocks, but he was still respectful when facing Crimson Flame. He didn't have the aura of a king, which meant that Crimson Flame's identity was higher than his. To be able to have a status even nobler than the king of the rocks, this identity was already obvious, but she subconsciously avoided this question. Wu Lamai had already discussed this with Shui Qing Man. If he could help little 11 improve her bloodline, was there a need to mention Qi Yan's identity? However, guessing was one thing and hearing it from someone else was another. He was still very shocked. Sima Yue sent her divine sense into the spirit pagoda. She saw that Crimson Flame had been in seclusion ever since he helped little 11 activate his bloodline. She didn't dare to disturb him, so she called Little Rock out. Little Peng, you knew all along? She asked. Big brother Crimson Flame doesn't want us to say it. Little Rock answered her question indirectly. It's true. Sima Yue said in a daze. She was obviously shocked by the news. Wow, Big brother Crimson Flame is actually the divine vermilion bird. Oh my god, my little heart is about to jump out. Little 7 pressed on her chest, exaggeratedly taking in deep breaths. Although little 11 had the divine dragon's bloodline, it was only a potential divine dragon. Before the bloodline completely evolved, he was still a violet water dragon. However, Crimson Flame was different. He was a real divine bird, a vermilion bird. Just thinking about it made her unable to breathe. Shimin Feng also didn't expect that his sister would actually form a contract with the divine vermilion bird after her rebirth. Although she was very surprised, Shui Qingman was still most concerned about her son. What does this have to do with Little 11? Why did you say it's because of the contract? Her voice pulled the others back to their senses. Previously, when Crimson Flame helped Little 11 activate his bloodline, he used his own blood essence. Wu Lingyu said, maybe when he activated his bloodline, his blood essence was absorbed by Little 11. Because Crimson Flame and Yu have a contract, Yu and Little 11's relationship became closer. But I don't feel that there is a contract between Little 11 and me. Sima Yue said. You guys don't have a contract. Naturally you can't feel the contract. Wu Lingyu said, it's just that this made your relationship closer. For example, the telepathy between twins. There is no contract but you can still feel each other's thoughts. Sima Yue lowered her head and looked at Little 11 in her arms. She felt weird. She had telepathy with a dragon egg? This was too mysterious. Especially when this dragon egg was a future divine dragon. It was unbelievable just thinking about it. Shui Qingman and Wu Lamai heaved a sigh of relief. It was okay to have telepathy as long as it wasn't a contract. However, if Yue and Little 11 really had a contract, they would probably compromise in the end. Godmother, I'm sorry. I didn't know. Sima Yue looked at Shui Qingman apologetically. It's okay. You and Little 11 are considered siblings. It's better if you guys are closer. Shui Qingman said with a smile. Sister. Everyone heard Little 11 calling out to Sima Yue non-stop. His tone was very excited. However, his calls were transmitted through divine sense. There was no real voice. Little 11, please take care of me in the future. Sima Yue flicked the dragon egg. Take care of me. Ha ha ha. Shi Yan's identity and Little 11's matter made Sima Yue's original hatred and anger fade away. Hence, when she came outside and saw the broken limbs all over the ground, she calmed down a lot. Boss, why did those spirit beasts only tear their bodies apart and not eat them? Anione asked. The poison I gave them will make them emit a foul stench. Although those spirit beasts were attracted by the initial fragrance, they weren't so hungry that they couldn't stop themselves from eating. When they found out that these eggs were extremely smelly, they naturally wouldn't eat them. Sima Yue said. Anione and the rest shuddered. Boss's heart was really evil. They must not offend her in the future. Sima Yue looked at Anione's expression and knew what he was thinking. She pretended to be serious and said, do you want to try it too? While boss, I've always been very obedient. We're not enemies. You won't treat me like this, right? Anione quickly expressed. Everyone laughed. This guy was simply a clown. Valley Lord, Vice Valley Lord, what do we do with these bodies? Keep them. These are the evidence of the spirit beasts killing Huayang Palace. When people come later they will help us spread the news. Shimin Feng said, we don't have to care about this. The rest of the time is for us to look for opportunities. If they were alive they wanted to see them. If they were dead they wanted to see their corpses. If they couldn't see their corpses, the people from Huayang Palace would come and ask them for them. Chapter 1095. After dealing with the people of the Yin Yang Palace, the group headed towards the depths of the island, preparing to search for opportunities on the island. Little Seven, who was leaning against Han Miao Shuang on Chongming's back, suddenly sat up and looked in the direction of the sea. What's wrong? Han Miao Shuang asked her. I seem to smell something. And it's a very familiar smell, but I can't remember what it is. Little Seven said. You've smelled so many scents, it's normal that you don't remember. It must be something to eat. Han Miao Shuang said with a smile. No. Little Seven said with certainty, this isn't the smell of a big radish. I've never smelled this before. Definitely not. You've never smelled it before, so why do you find it familiar? Han Miao Shuang asked. I just feel that it's familiar. I don't know why. Little Seven pouted and said, if I knew what it was I wouldn't be like this. Smell it, isn't there a very light fragrance? Hearing that, the others closed their eyes and sniffed, but they didn't find anything special. There's no smell. Little Seven, are you mistaken? Han Miao Shuang asked. No, there must be some kind of smell. Do you smell it? Little Seven asked. Sima Yue took a few deep breaths and shook her head, saying, this place is filled with grass and trees, and there are many kinds of faint fragrances. Which one are you talking about? Why can't you guys smell it? Little Seven anxiously kicked Chongming. Wu Lingyu, who was at the side, furrowed his eyebrows in discomfort. Sima Yu just happened to have something to say to him. Seeing his pale face and furrowed eyebrows, she asked nervously, "Senior brother, what's wrong?" "I'm not feeling well." Wu Lingyu did not force herself to stay awake. She leaned on Sima Yu. "What's wrong, brother Lingyu?" Little Seven asked. "Senior brother Yu?" Before Sima Yue could finish her sentence, Wu Lingyu fainted. His head that was resting on Sima Yue's shoulder kept sliding down. "Senior brother?" Chongming land. Sima Yue supported Wu Lingyu and shouted at Chongming. Chongming brought them back to land. Sima Yue laid Wu Lingyu flat and checked his body. "Yue, how is he?" Shimin Feng and others also flew over and asked. "His pulse is very slow. He seems to be in a coma." Sima Yue said, "But it's okay. He'll wake up after a while." "You knew that this would happen, so don't worry," Seven consoled. Wu Lingyu encountered a problem during the soul fusion. Her body would fall into a coma every once in a while. Even if she woke up, there would be a period of weakness. This was something that Sima Yue and Little Seven already knew. Now that she knew that he had fainted because of this, Yue slowly calmed down. "You already knew? What's going on?" Shimin Feng asked. "Senior brother's body has an old illness. He would fall into a coma every once in a while. He'll be fine when he wakes up." Sima Yue explained. "Is there really no problem? Why did he faint so suddenly?" Han Miao Shuang was puzzled. "There really weren't any signs," Sima Yue said. "Could it be related to the smell that Little Seven mentioned just now? It seems like Little Seven said that he was feeling unwell after smelling something." Kong Sangyi guessed. "I'm going to bring him to the Little Realm for a check. You guys don't have to follow me. Feng, bring them forward first," Sima Yue said. She hadn't checked Wu Lingyu's body in detail yet. She didn't know what would happen after she went in. She also didn't know how long it would take. If they followed her, she didn't know how long it would take. She might as well let them search on their own. Shimin Feng understood this as well, so he didn't say anything else. "If there's any danger, remember to contact us." "You too." Shimin Feng brought the people from Heartbreak Valley and Kong Valley away. Little Seven, Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiao Xiao stayed behind. "Help me look around. I'm going to check senior brother," Sima Yue said. The three of them nodded. They formed a triangle around her and surrounded her in the middle. Sima Yue inserted her divine sense into Wu Lingyu's body and checked his condition carefully. "What's going on?" After she went in, she realized that Wu Lingyu's internal organs were all beating very slowly. His heartbeat was less than half of a normal person's. Qilin. She called for Wu Lingyu's contract beast in his body. "What?" Fire Qilin's lazy voice came. "When senior brother fainted last time, were his internal organs like this too?" "No. It was normal." Fire Qilin said, "But I can feel that he's fine now. He's just sleeping." Senior brother said that there were some signs when he fainted last time. "Why is it so sudden this time? Do you know the reason?" "If you don't know, how would I know? I'm not a doctor." "Alright, don't disturb me. I'm resting." Fire Qilin's voice gradually became softer. It seemed that he had fallen asleep along with Wu Lingyu. Sima Yue was helpless. She could only continue to check his condition. She came to Wu Lingyu's dantian. She realized that there were two balls of light, one black and one white. The black one should be the devil's power that came from his soul. The other ball of white light was covered with various colors of spiritual energy. The black and white light existed in his dantian at the same time, but they didn't seem to be together. It seems like senior brother is right. One belongs to the soul and the other belongs to the body. The two of them are in different containers. So even if their attributes clash, it's not as dangerous as it is for me. Sima Yue sighed. She didn't know how he escaped from the fate of the devil god's body. She checked him carefully. She still didn't find any abnormalities, other than the fact that his organs were operating slower by half. After searching for a while, she still couldn't find anything. She could only leave. Since Fire Qilin said that he was fine, then he should be fine. Han Miao Shuang and the others saw that she was done checking and flew back. "Little junior brother, how is it?" Han Miao Shuang asked. "I didn't find anything," Sima Yue said, "but his contract beast said that he's fine. So he should be fine." "Then what do we do now? Wait for him to wake up?" Little Seven asked. "No need. We don't know when he'll wake up. We don't know how long we have to wait," Sima Yue said, Put him in the spirit pagoda. Let little spirit and the others watch over him. That's fine too. This way it won't affect our search for the ruins. Han Miao Shuang said. Sima Yue kept Wu Lingyu in the spirit pagoda. Then she let Chongming bring them to the depths of the island. This book came from the book. Chapter 1096. They randomly picked a direction to walk in, not knowing if it was the same direction as Shimin Feng and the others. Since Yin Lin asked her to act alone, then there was no need for her to chase after them. Is there really an emperor's historical remains in this immortal land? Little Seven said, isn't this immortal land supposed to be sealed off? Why would those emperors live here? This immortal land and little realm used to be connected to the mainland, naturally there would be people living here. It's just that we don't know if it was an emperor in the past. Han Miao Shuang said. Wow, you even know about this. Little Seven looked at Han Miao Shuang with admiration. Although the Han clan isn't that great, they are still a big clan, it's normal to know some things. Han Miao Shuang said. Then what else do you know? Little Seven asked. That's all I know, but I read in a book before, this immortal land doesn't seem to be in our galaxy, there are other galaxies as well, maybe there are things and people here that don't belong to our continent. Han Miao Shuang said. Other galaxies? Yeah, I read in a book when I was young that we aren't the only ones, there are other continents etc., but I was young then, I didn't know much about this. After that, I didn't see that book again. I don't know if what the book said is true. Han Miao Shuang shrugged. Are there really other places? You, what do you think? Little Seven blinked her big eyes. Maybe. Sima Yue wasn't too surprised. In the past, the ancient people felt that the place they grew up in was very big, but they found out that there was another country. After that, they felt that the country was very big, but there were other countries outside the country, there were other continents outside the continent they lived in. After that, they found out that the earth was round, and that the earth revolved around the sun, and then they found out about the solar system, the Milky Way, the endless universe etc. Since it was like this in the past, she wouldn't be too surprised if they told her how many continents there were. Speaking of emperors, Yu, how's the halberd in your hand? Han Miao Shuang asked. I've already refined it these years, but I can only barely use it. And without getting the other half, it doesn't have much power. Not as good as Ling Long, Sima Yue added in her heart. Inside the spirit pagoda, the heaven's halberd that Little Roar was using to dig suddenly became very excited. It shook vigorously but was pressed down by Little Roar. Don't move, we have to dig a hole. Little Roar patted the heaven's halberd. Little Spirit appeared in the air and looked down at the filthy Little Roar holding the heaven's halberd with a helpless look. He had been here for so long, but the guy below still hadn't noticed. This was the first time he had seen him so serious about something. What are you up to now? He asked aloud. Little Roar twisted his butt and turned his head to look at Little Spirit before turning back and saying, I'm digging a hole. Why are you digging holes? Little Spirit flew down and saw that it had dug dozens of holes. His face was full of black lines. Yu said that when a girl is unhappy, if a boy gives her roses, she will be happy. Little Dream is unhappy all day and doesn't smile anymore, so I want to plant a field of roses. This way when she sees these roses she will be happy. Little Roar waved the heaven's halberd in his hand and said excitedly. Little Spirit didn't know what to say about this unreliable guy. If he was asking for a beating, he was doing it to make Little Dream happy. If he was being considerate, he actually used the heaven's halberd to dig here and dug so many holes. If you want to dig a hole, so be it. But you dug a 1-meter deep hole. Are you going to plant roses or bury yourself in it? If Yu knew that you used the heaven's halberd to dig, do you think she would confine you? Little Spirit said faintly. Little Roar's excited eyes became sober. It seemed that Yu cherished this thing. Thinking of her punishing him, his 2 ears drooped. Yu wouldn't punish me, right? Even he didn't have the confidence to say these words. I think it'll be hard. Little Spirit said. Don't scare me. Little Roar hugged the heaven's halberd and said. Do you think I am? Little Spirit had a serious look on his face, causing Little Roar to feel even more chills down his spine. Little Dream walked over from afar and carried Little Roar out of the hole. She smiled and said, Don't be afraid, Yu won't punish you. The current Little Dream was very different from before. If she was a pure black lotus in the past, then she was now a black rose, beautiful and enchanting, ready to prick people at any time. Little Roar saw the smile on Little Dream's face and threw away the heaven's halberd in his hand. He said excitedly, Little Dream, you finally smiled. After so many days you finally smiled. Little Dream stuck her face on Little Roar's back and said, How lucky am I to have you, you and everyone to accompany me. She was a sinner and should suffer endless pain and blame, not their love for her. Little Dream, we are a family. Little Roar felt the bitterness in Little Dream's words and comforted her. If I make a mistake in the future, don't despise me. I won't. Little Roar is the cutest. Little Dream kissed Little Roar's forehead and promised. Haha. Little Roar was a little confused by Little Dream's kiss and could only laugh foolishly. Little Spirit looked at the silly Little Roar and shook his head in disdain. However, he still said to Little Dream, although this guy is unreliable, there is one thing he said that is right. We are a family and you are not the only one who has to bear those things. We will be with you. Little Spirit rarely said such emotional words. After he finished speaking, he felt a little embarrassed and ran away. However, after he left, the holes that Little Roar had dug were all filled back up. Following that, rose sprouts grew out of the soil. Those sprouts grew up at a speed visible to the eyes, and very quickly beautiful and fragrant flowers bloomed. Moreover, there were flowers of various colors. This place became a rose garden, a garden specially formed for Little Dream. The smile on Little Dream's face widened, but tears fell from her eyes. Thank you all. Little Roar was in Little Dream's embrace with an unhappy face. This little spirit only knew how to steal his limelight. It was obviously him who wanted to plant roses for Little Dream, but this guy turned this place into a garden and even filled up the holes that he had painstakingly dug. Unhappy. Unhappy. Little Dream carried Little Roar to the garden and sat down. Smelling the thick fragrance of the flowers, she said, Little Roar, you can play here. I need to quickly digest the energy in my body and go out early. Little Roar walked out dejectedly. Little Roar, you are the best. When Little Roar heard this, his spirit returned and he walked majestically. Chapter 1097. Sima Yue sensed what was happening in the spirit pagoda and smiled faintly. She didn't think that Little Roar would be so good. Seeing that he had made Little Dream's mood better, she didn't pursue the matter of him using the heaven's halberd to dig the ground. If Emperor Qing Dao knew that his divine weapon was being used as a tool for digging, it was unknown whether or not he would be so angry that he would directly go to Little Roar and crush him into a pancake. Thinking of Emperor Qing Dao, she unconsciously sighed. Back then at Sky Reaching Pavilion, Emperor Qing Dao's words to her rang in her ears. From time to time he would jump out to remind her that the world was changing and that she had to find the reason and the solution. Emperor? He wondered if he would really encounter the ruins of an emperor this time. This island is really big. They had been flying around the island for a long time, but they hadn't even seen a single person, let alone the ruins. Previously, when they were close to the sea, there were still some spirit beasts roaming about, but now there was nothing. After walking for a few more days, they still didn't see any places that looked like ruins. Are there really relics here? Little Seven was about to lose her patience. This is a deserted island with no signs of life. I think so too, this place doesn't look like a ruin. Han Miao Shuang said. Why not? Su Xiaoxiao asked. Look at the places we walked past. Even if there weren't any great treasures, at least there would be some extinct spirit herbs or something. But here there are only ordinary trees. There's no spiritual energy at all. It's even worse than the plants in other places. Han Miao Shuang said. That's right, these trees and grasses don't have any spiritual energy, I can't smell anything. Little Seven agreed. We've been in this forest for 2 days, but we haven't found anything. Su Xiao said. Don't you think that the more abnormal it is, the more suspicious it is? Sima Yue said. If the sunrise was abnormal, there must be something wrong. The more abnormal it was, the more it meant that there was a problem. Is there a problem? Seven asked. Think about it. The entire immortal land is filled with spiritual energy. Every flower and grass is filled with spiritual energy. But why are the flowers and trees on this island the most ordinary, without any spiritual energy at all? Sima Yue said, why do you think this is? What else could it be? There definitely wasn't any spiritual energy for them to eat. Without anything to eat, they naturally became skin and bones. No, they became normal plants. Little Seven said. Then why is there spiritual energy everywhere except here? Sima Yue asked again. Do you even need to think about it? It was definitely eaten by someone. Little Seven said confidently. Who could eat so cleanly in such a large area? He must be someone very powerful. That's it. Little Seven slapped her forehead and said, that's right, if there wasn't anything here that absorbed all the spiritual energy, this situation wouldn't have happened. Could it be that something in the ruins has absorbed the spiritual energy? I don't know. Sima Yue said, we'll know when we find that thing. Then let's continue. Little Seven's interest was piqued. As long as there was a treasure, she would definitely be excited. Aren't you very sensitive to treasures? Use your nose to smell and see where the treasure is. Maybe we'll find the ruins. Han Miao Shuang teased. I'm just more sensitive to big radishes, unlike Little Two who is sensitive to all treasures. If only Little Two was here. Little Seven said. I wonder where Little Two is now and if he's doing well. Sima Yue missed that little kid. I think that it must be a plant-type treasure to be able to make these flowers and trees lose their spiritual energy. Only then can these flowers and trees be obedient and not absorb spiritual energy. Su Xiaoxiao guessed. Very likely. Han Miao Shuang said, so, Little Seven, use your nose to smell and see where the treasure is. Her eyes were smiling, teasing Little Seven like a dog's nose. Little Seven stuck out her chin, showing Han Miao Shuang the back of her head. I'll let Hua Hua try. Sima Yue said as she called Hua Hua out, asking her to check if there were any abnormalities here. Hua Hua looked uncomfortable the moment she came out. Her face was pale and her forehead was sweating profusely. Hua Hua, what happened to you? Hua Hua couldn't maintain her human form and turned into a man-eating flower, landing in Sima Yue's hands. Master, there's a very powerful thing here. With it around I can't breathe. Hua Hua said in fear. Do you know where it is? Sima Yue asked. Sima Yue saw Hua Hua trembling as she spoke, and could only keep her back into the spirit pagoda. Seems like that thing's level is very high. If not, even Hua Hua wouldn't be so afraid of it. Su Xiao said. Hua Hua was the man-eating flower king after all. Among the plant types, she was considered to be of a higher level. Those plant-type spirit beasts would be intimidated by her aura when they saw her. But now, she only felt the existence of that thing and she was already suppressed to this extent. How powerful was that thing? Yu and the other two thought of this question. Then, they turned to look at Little Seven who was looking around curiously. Hua Hua didn't even have the power to resist for a moment. Why was this guy so relaxed when they were both plant-type spirit beasts? She didn't even feel the aura of that guy. Was it because she was from a different world, or that thing didn't even enter Little Seven's eyes? But thinking about it, Little Seven was the eye of the earth after all. She was a treasure born from heaven and earth. She wasn't an ordinary plant-type spirit beast. Since we already know the direction, let's hurry over. Little Seven said, I'm very curious about this thing now. Let's go. Sima Yu called out Little Rock and got him to bring them to the east. With Little Rock's speed, they flew for an entire day before flying out of the forest. This forest is huge. We've flown so far and we still haven't seen that thing. Did we miss it? Han Miao Shuang asked. No. Little Seven said confidently. I smell that smell. It's the smell I mentioned before. It's getting stronger and stronger. I think we're getting closer to it. The further east they went, the more serious Little Seven's expression became. She didn't even talk to them anymore. After going over a small mountain range, what entered their eyes was a boundless grassland. And in the middle of the grassland, a towering tree swayed with the wind. Its height was comparable to a small mountain. The tree crown covered a radius of 1 kilometer. A single tree represented an entire region. This is that treasure? Han Miao Shuang and the rest were stunned. Ordinary trees, even if they lived for tens of thousands of years, their tree crown wouldn't be so big. They would choose to develop their roots. If the tree crown was so big, then how big was this tree? This book came from the book and book #web. Chapter 1098. Not only was the tree huge, it was also very special. Golden leaves. Sima Yue and the rest looked at the golden book and stopped in their tracks, not daring to go near it. Golden leaves, what tree is this? Han Miao Shuang and the rest had never seen a tree with golden leaves. They didn't know what tree it was. Divine tree banyan. Little Seven muttered. Little Seven, you know this. Little Seven didn't answer Han Miao Shuang. She flew away from Little Rock and flew towards the banyan tree. Little Seven. Sima Yue subconsciously wanted to grab Little Seven. They didn't even know if the tree was dangerous, they couldn't just fly over. But Little Seven's speed was very fast, she only caught the wind that she brought out. Little Seven came to the front of the banyan tree, paused, flew into the leaves and disappeared, even her aura disappeared. Little Seven. Sima Yue kept Chongming into the spirit pagoda and flew towards the banyan tree with Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiaoxiao. There's a spirit barrier in front. Su Xiaoxiao said. Sima Yue called out Little Roar and merged with him, then pulled one in each hand and brought them through the spirit barrier, stopping in front of the banyan tree. Where did little Seven go? They looked around the tree but didn't see little Seven's figure. Let's split up and see if she's in the tree crown, Han Miao Shuang said. The three of them nodded and each of them looked in a direction. Aya? Han Miao Shuang suddenly cried out. Sima Yue turned her head and saw her being wrapped by a ray of light, then she disappeared. Ugh! A groan came from Su Xiaozhao's side. When Sima Yue looked over, he had disappeared as well. Senior brother, senior sister? She called out a few times but no one answered her. She walked under the tree carefully, but what she didn't know was that as she walked, she disappeared under the tree. The banyan tree returned to its usual silence. A wave of dizziness hit her, she was wrapped by something and couldn't breathe properly. She tried to struggle but she didn't have enough strength here. She felt that she was falling. She didn't know how many 100 meters she had fallen, but she still didn't seem to have any intention of stopping. She mobilized the spiritual power in her body, trying to keep her body balanced so that she could fly down, but her body couldn't move at all. In a daze, she saw that she was getting closer and closer to the ground, but her body still couldn't move. She subconsciously closed her eyes and wondered if she would become the first spirit master to fall to her death. The pain she expected did not come. She opened her eyes and saw that she had stopped a few meters above the ground. Before she could react, the light dissipated and she fell heavily to the ground. It didn't hurt. She reached out and touched it. There were leaves all over her body. Judging from how soft they were, there should be a thick layer. She got up from the ground and looked at the dark place. She released a flame to illuminate the place. There was a sealed hole that was about the size of 2 basketball courts. It was surrounded by brown tree bark folds. It seemed like this was the tree hole of the dendrobium tree. Little Seven? Senior brother? Senior sister? No one answered her. It seemed like they were not here. She looked around. Other than the tree bark, there was nothing else. She looked up again. There was a dark hole above her. She tried to mobilize the spiritual power in her body again. It was useless. The spiritual power stayed in her dantian. There was no reaction at all. Without spiritual power she could not fly. It was even more impossible for her to fly up. Chongming. She called out for Chongming. However, Chongming did not come out this time. Little Rock? 1,000 resonance? No one answered her. Don't waste your energy. You can't contact anyone here. A gentle voice suddenly sounded, giving her a shock. Who is it? She looked at the sky. No one was here. Suddenly, the tree trunk lit up with a golden light. In the light, the image of a cultured and elegant man appeared on the tree trunk. You are the dendrobium tree? Sima Yue asked with uncertainty. Yes. The man smiled and said, You can call me the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life of the elf tribe? She didn't know why, but seeing him like this, she subconsciously said this. Elf tribe? When did a new tribe appear in this world? The man muttered. His eyes unconsciously revealed a faint sadness. It seems like this is not the Tree of Life that I know of. Did you bring me here? She asked softly. Facing such a man, she couldn't bear to speak loudly. It was as if she was afraid that she would disturb his gentleness. Yes. The man admitted. Why did you bring me here? Sima Yue asked again. Those who can find this place are fated people. They can obtain the inheritance of the Tree of Life. However, before that they have to go through a test. Then are my senior brothers and sisters the same? Yes. However, they are in another place. The man said, Everyone's test is individual. Then what about my spirit beast? Are you talking about the one on you? It has already returned to your contracted space. Here you can only rely on yourself. You can't rely on external forces. Is Little Seven the same? Who is Little Seven? The Eye of Earth. Oh, you're talking about her. She is too weak now. I will help her evolve. She is different from you. She doesn't need to be tested. The man said. You can help her evolve? Of course. Although she is not an ordinary plant, she can still do it. The man said. Not an ordinary plant? Then what is she? Have you ever seen a plant that likes to fight so much? The man asked. Sima Yue thought for a while. She didn't think so. Even if it was Hua Hua, she had a strong attack power. However, she wasn't particularly fond of fighting. But Little Seven was different. Every time she saw someone she didn't like, she would directly attack them. She always talked about beating people up. Plant-type spirit beasts were mostly gentle. They were filled with love and vitality. However, Little Seven. Just thinking about it gave her a headache. Then what is Little Seven? Sima Yue asked. The Eye of the Earth was a race with very strong fighting power in ancient times. They belong to the plant-type spirit beasts. Later on they gradually declined. Until now, I have only seen this eye of the earth. The man said, "Do you know what the eye of the earth does?" Sima Yue shook her head and said, "I only know that the eye of earth can help in cultivation. I don't know what else it can do." The eye of earth's chi can indeed help you humans in cultivation. However, it has an even greater use. What? It can help in advancement, the man said. Seeing Sima Yue's disapproving face, he added, "If a monarch rank expert wants to become a monarch with the help of the eye of earth, the success rate will increase by 70%. If a monarch wants to advance with the help of the eye of earth, the success rate will also increase." Chapter 1099. Sima Yue was so shocked that she could not close her mouth. After living for so many years, she was rarely so surprised. After a while, she finally regained her focus. At the same time, a deep sense of worry welled up in her heart. With such a heaven-defying effect, wouldn't Shao Qi be in even more danger if others knew about it? Perhaps it is because of this that the eye of the earth has become like this. She sighed. If she is strong, the danger will be much less. The man had been observing her. After learning about the heaven-defying effect of the earth's eye, she didn't have a trace of greed or excitement. She was only surprised and worried after the surprise. Unlike the people he had met in the past, they would become greedy after knowing some good things. You don't want to take her for yourself? As far as I know, there is no contract between you and her. Do you want to form a contract with her before she becomes very strong? He asked tentatively. Sima Yue shook her head. I have never thought of forming a contract with Little Seven. Even though I now know that she has a greater use, I never thought of it that way. What? With her, you will become stronger and go further. Without her, I can become stronger and go further, Sima Yue said. Don't tell me you don't want external help? Continue to walk on your own? The man asked. Of course not, Sima Yue said. I'm not a cultivator, I'll naturally use external forces if I need them. It's just that Little Seven is my friend, my little sister. She's someone I've set my mind on. In my eyes, she's not a cultivation treasure. She's just my friend. I won't sacrifice my friends for my own improvement. The man stared at Sima Yue and sighed in his heart. In this place he was the master. Whether Sima Yue was telling the truth or not could not be hidden from him. He could feel that when she said those words just now, she really did think of Little Seven as a companion and not a treasure. I hope you'll stick to what you're thinking now, he said softly. I hope it will always be like this. Sima Yue said, perhaps in the future when my realm changes some of my thoughts will also change. But I hope that no matter how far I go, I can always stay the same. What a great sentence. The man's voice was a little excited. He hadn't heard such words for a long time. It was impossible for a person to have the same mentality for their entire life. With the increase of strength, the difference in realm, the richness of experience, and the change in living environment, people would always change. But no matter how much she changed, as long as her heart remained the same, she was still her. I didn't expect you to be able to see things so clearly at such a young age. The man said, it's a pity that you're in a bad situation now. I don't know if you can stay like this forever. Sima Yue did not understand what he was talking about. Your body is very bad. The man said, I haven't seen a god-devil body for many years. Fortunately, you've trained your body well. Otherwise, you would have exploded and died. Sima Yue did not expect him to find out about her problems so quickly. She was stunned and then smiled bitterly. Although I've trained well, it's still a threat if it's not solved. Your Tao heart is firm. You'll find a way. The man said, I believe in my judgment. You're more confident than me. Sima Yue said. You're actually not that worried yourself, right? The man smiled and exposed her thoughts. It's not that I'm not worried. I just feel that if I can find a way, I'll find one. If I can't find one, then I can only accept it. Sima Yue said, but before I die, I want to complete my task and die without regrets. You're quite open-minded. Didn't the ancients say that everyone will die sooner or later? As long as I don't have any regrets, even if I die, it doesn't matter. As long as I don't die before I complete my task, it's fine. The man chuckled. Your way of thinking is really different from others. But it's to my liking. Initially, I wanted to give you something and let you go. But now I've changed my mind. Didn't you say that there's still a test? Sima Yue asked curiously. The test is already over. You've passed the test. The man said. Chatting is the test? Sima Yue blinked. Was the test that easy? What else did you think it was? The man chuckled. What kind of physical torture and mental torture do I have to give you? That was what she really thought. I already knew about your matters when you entered this place. The man said, your talent, your perseverance, I've already known about it from what happened in the past. So I don't have to test you on these. You know everything about me? Did that mean that he knew about her secrets too? You don't have to worry about others knowing about your secrets. The man said, I've accumulated many people's secrets here. I don't have the heart to reveal all of them. It's inevitable that I'm worried. Sima Yue chuckled. In the past, those who passed my test would obtain my essence. However, I think that I can give you something else if you can obtain it. The man continued. So you're saying that I might not be able to obtain it? Sima Yue asked. Yes and no. The man said. Then can I exchange it for something else? Sima Yue asked. Exchange it for something else? Yes, how about this? I'll exchange it for something else. I don't want it anymore. Come with me. Sima Yue said shamelessly. The man was amused by Sima Yue's idea. However, he did not agree to her request. The golden light dispersed and the image on the tree trunk disappeared. The tree veins here contain a lot of meaning. If you can understand it, you can leave this place. If you can't, you'll have to stay here until you understand it. Hey, you can't be like this. Aren't you kidnapping me? Sima Yue shouted. Even if the joke she made with him just now made him unhappy, there was no need for him to be like this. Qingyi. What? My name. The man said. Qingyi? Aren't you yellow? Why are you called Qingyi and not Huangyi? Qingyi decided to ignore her. This guy was indeed a hooligan. Qingyi, if I understand it, will you come with me? Sima Yue asked the heir. He still ignored her. If you don't answer me, I'll take it as a yes. When I come out of seclusion, you'll have to come with me. I'll bring you to see the outside world. Qingyi was a little regretful. He shouldn't have allowed her to comprehend his Tao. Chapter 1100. Read 336. The silent aura in the tree hole enveloped her. She seemed to feel that he was a little angry. Although he wasn't really angry. At his age, there were very few things that could anger him. Sima Yue walked around, but there were only tree folds around her. Could it be that he wants me to comprehend some principles by looking at these things? She slowly sat down. The soft leaves exuded a faint fragrance, which made her feel comfortable all over after smelling it. Tree folds, what kind of logic can be contained in tree folds? She stared at the tree folds, but tree folds were tree folds, she did not find anything different. At the same time, in the other tree holes, Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiao were also comprehending. But unlike her, they were in an illusion. What they saw were different environments, not the most primitive tree folds like hers. Qingyi. Little Seven lay on a tree branch and called out to the person beside her. Qingyi turned her head to look at the young lady in front of her. She used to be her friend, a very, very good friend. Qingyi, I remember you. Little Seven said, I'm sorry, I forgot about you. Qingyi smiled and reached out to pat her head, saying, I didn't expect you to degenerate to this extent. You must have suffered a lot over the years. Little Seven shook her head. Without memories, there is no pain. As she spoke, she sat up and leaned on Qingyi's body, saying, but after so many years, you still remember. You remember what happened in the past. You are in much more pain than me. Qingyi hugged Little Seven. Her small body was different from before. The feeling was different, but the smell was the same as in his memory. How many years had it been? He couldn't remember how many years he hadn't seen her. When you were captured, your spirit energy was sucked dry by them. From then on, no one knew if you were dead or alive. I thought I would never see you again. He caressed her hair like before, his movements as gentle as ever. Unfortunately, they were no longer the same people as before. Little Seven laid in his embrace, absorbing the scent of his body. Qingyi, did you know? When I was conscious, I always thought that I was just a newborn baby. I was like a baby who was curious about the world and slowly grew up. But the moment I saw you, my memories were completely restored. Only then did I realize that things were not as I thought they were. I am very happy to be able to see you again, to be able to remember our past. It's a pity that we weren't strong at that time. If not, we wouldn't have to watch them take you away. Qingyi was regretful. Little Seven raised her head and saw him blaming himself, her heart. What happened back then wasn't your fault at all. You didn't have to punish yourself like this. You came here and stayed for so many years. I can't imagine how you have survived all these years. How lonely must it be for you to be here alone? Qingyi just smiled faintly. Lonely? Should be. But he was so lonely that he had forgotten what loneliness was. Sigh, what should we do? Little Seven sighed. What? Little Seven reached out and pinched Qingyi's face, then touched her own little face and said, what should I do? Although I've recovered my memories, I still feel that I'm so young and you're so old. Will there be a generation gap between us? Qingyi was speechless. Seeing the smile in Little Seven's eyes, he helplessly and lovingly said, Little Seven, you're being naughty. Little Seven, you have become bad. How have I become naughty? This is indeed a problem between us. Don't you think that I am very young now? Little Seven stared at Qingyi as if she was going to get angry if he said no. Hee. Qingyi laughed. Yes, you are very young now, like a little doll. Che, you are laughing at me. Little Seven pouted. No. Qingyi said. Seeing that she was angry, he was not anxious. Say, if Sima Yue knows that I am teasing her, will she be angry with me? No, Yu is not that easily angry. Little Seven said. Moreover, you are not teasing her. If she can understand her own Tao from you, she will be grateful to you. She is indeed not bad. She is also good to your heart. Qingyi said. I will be at ease if you follow her. You are not coming with me? Little Seven grabbed Qingyi's clothes and looked at him nervously. If you don't come with me, what if you can't protect me? What if one day I am taken away again? If my spiritual energy is sucked dry again, can I still regain my consciousness? What if I forget about you again? Wah, the more Little Seven said, the sadder she became. She burst into tears. Qingyi saw Little Seven's tears and panicked again after so many years. Thinking about what she said, if it all became true. No, it won't, he will not let it become true. Alright, don't cry. I didn't say that I won't go with you. Qingyi gently wiped her tears and comforted her. He originally wanted to say that he was used to this place, but he could not let anything happen to her. He did not know if he could bear the pain of losing her again. Really? Little Seven asked while sobbing. Of course it's true. When have I ever lied to you? Humph, before you grew up, when I was still a dumpling, you would always lie to me. Little Seven brought up their childhood. That was already a few 100,000 years ago. Qingyi was helpless. No matter how long ago it was, it still existed. Little Seven snorted. All right. After we grew up, I didn't lie to you. That's because after I grew up, I became smarter. You can't lie to me anymore. You have become narcissistic now. All right, I already said that I'll go with you. Don't cry. Qingyi saw her tears and his heart ached. That year, when she was taken away in front of his eyes, the tears on her face made him hurt for tens of thousands of years. Now he did not want to see her tears at all. He could not bear her tears. I can't control myself. Who told you to tease me? Little Seven complained. It's all my fault. Be good, don't cry. Qingyi hugged Little Seven and patted her back gently. But I have a condition to go with you. What condition? Little Seven leaned on his chest and asked in a muffled voice. Although I'm going out, unless you are in danger, no matter what happens, I will not make a move. Qingyi said. I don't want you to make a move. I know that you are restricted by the heavenly Tao. I won't let you be in danger. Little Seven said, after we go out, I will protect you. Hee. Alright, you protect me. Qingyi smiled. Although her personality had changed quite a bit, she still treated him the same as before. This happiness that was hard to come by, he would not let anyone take it away from him. Not even the heavens. This book came from Pin and Book #. Chapter 1101. Crazy Wife, Godly Doctor 5th Miss Chapter 1101. Love from a few 100,000 years ago to Chapter 1101. Love from a few 100,000 years ago to Chapter 1101. Love from a few 100,000 years ago to Little Seven fell asleep in Qingyi's embrace. That quiet look was poles apart from her usual self. Qingyi caressed her face, his gaze gentle and satisfied. Qingyi, a murmur in her sleep melted his heart. But the following words made 3 black lines appear on the back of his head. Good for you guys, so savage, come over and let your little grandaunt beat you up. He shook his head helplessly, saying softly, it's still you, why did your personality change so much? But you're still as cute as ever. He leaned over and kissed Little Seven's forehead lightly. Looking up, he saw her bright eyes. You're sneakily kissing me again. Little Seven smiled. Qingyi didn't feel awkward about being caught, saying, all right, you should go and evolve. You won't run away while I'm evolving, right? Little Seven asked. That's true. Little Seven nodded, sighing, saying, we were about the same in the past. When it comes to fighting, you're not as good as me. But now you're so far ahead of me. I'll wait here for you to catch up to me. Qingyi said, go on, I'll wait for you to evolve. Right, you have to slow down the time, I still have to go to the ruins with you to get the treasure. Little Seven said. Aren't you worried that she won't be able to come out? Qingyi asked. Of course not, who is Yu? How can she not come out? Little Seven said confidently, even if the entire world can't comprehend it, Yu won't have a problem. It's just that it's a bit difficult to comprehend it just by looking at your tree, you just have to give her more time to prepare. Since I'm done evolving, we can come out together. All right. Qingyi nodded. As a godly tree of life, it had the ability to adjust time in its own body. Then I'll go in. Little Seven said reluctantly. Go. I'm really going in. I'll wait here for you to come out. Vomit. Little Seven pouted and pulled on Qingyi's clothes. She pulled him in front of her and gave him a big kiss on the lips. Then she went into the tree hole with satisfaction. Qingyi stood rooted to the ground. Then the corners of his mouth rose and he smiled shyly. Naughty fellow. Although he said that, he was actually very happy. He savored the aftertaste for a while before his body melted into the tree trunk. On the other hand, a few days after Sima Yue and the rest arrived at the island, more and more people arrived at the island. Those people waited for the seawater to change. Plus, the boat was not as fast as the ship. By the time they reached the island and saw the corpses of the Yin Yang Palace people, the corpses were already highly decomposed. However, they were still able to recognize their identities through their attire and some of their symbolic items. These wounds should have been caused by sea beasts. Why are they all from Yin Yang Palace? I don't see anyone from Kong Valley and Heartbreak Valley? They must have separated after arriving on the island, someone guessed. I think so. Heartbreak Valley and Yin Yang Palace people don't know each other. They were only brought here because of Kong Sangyi's request. Now that they're on the island, they naturally have to separate from them. Otherwise, it would be hard to split the treasures. Poor Yin Yang Palace people. They came to the island so early. In the end, they didn't encounter anything and turned into a pile of broken limbs. Who asked them to come so early? It feels like they were rushing to their deaths. Maybe the people who came first are all in trouble. Then we're the earliest people. There are so many people. It's impossible that they're all dead. Instead of talking about this here, why don't we look for the ruins now? That's right. Let's go. Poor Yin Yang Palace people. Even if they were discovered, no one took care of their corpses. They continued to be exposed to the sun on the island. In the middle of the island, there was a mountain range that stretched for thousands of miles. In front of the mountain range there was a large patch of green grass. There were a few stone pillars on the grass. When Shimin Feng and Kong Sangyi brought people here, there were many scattered footprints on the grass. Seems like someone found this place. Kong Xiangqi said. But they might not have found the ruins. Bai Xing said. Why do you say that? Look at those stone pillars. If not, it wouldn't be the ruins. Bai Xing said, this should be something like a teleportation array. Can it bring us to the ruins after we enter? If we're really looking for the ruins of an emperor, it might bring us there. But how do we activate it? The people who came before us should have successfully activated it. Let the array masters try. Kong Sangyi said. Kong Valley and Heartbreak Valley both brought array masters. When Kong Sangyi said that, they took the lead and walked towards the stone pillars. After studying it for a while, they waved to the people behind them. Valley Lord, this is indeed a small teleportation array. However, this teleportation array is random. We don't know where it will send people. An array master from Heartbreak Valley said. Will it split us up? An INE asked. There are a few nodes in this array. People standing on different nodes will be sent to the same place. If they were not on the same node, they would naturally be sent to different places. That's right. We don't know what's behind this array. It might be the ruins or it might be a very dangerous place. Activating this array isn't difficult. However, I'm afraid of the uncertainty behind. Valley Lord, do you want to advance? Shimin Feng looked at the disciples behind him and said, we don't know what's behind us. Hence, everyone can do whatever you want. If you don't want to go, we won't force you. You can go elsewhere to look for opportunities or wait for us here. Valley Lord, let's go in together. That's right. Valley Lord, we used to be fugitives. What kind of danger have we not seen before? Yes, let's go in too. The people from Kong Valley had the same thought. Since they were here to look for opportunities, how could they give up because of some unknown factors? Shimin Feng looked at Kong Sangyi. Kong Sangyi walked over and said, "I'll go with you." Kong Xiangqi looked at his little sister and felt a little disappointed. A grown girl couldn't be kept at home. "Since you've decided, let's go in," Shimin Feng said. They came to the middle of the stone pillars. Those who were close to them stood together. The array master activated the array and the group of people disappeared. Not long after they disappeared, a few more people came here. After a round of investigation, they all entered the teleportation array. As for the others, they went around in circles and actually came to where Qingyi was. "Look, a golden tree!" Those people shouted in surprise. Their voices woke Qingyi up from her slumber. Could this be the legendary tree of God? An old man recognized it and was so excited that his whole body trembled. Chapter 1101. Love from a few 100,000 years ago, 2. Chapter 1102. Read 336. The legendary tree of life is indeed the tree of life. The old man said as he took out an ancient book that was so rotten that it was missing a few corners. He flipped to a page and compared it with the tree in front of him. After confirming that it was the tree of life that he had been searching for many years, he was so excited that he couldn't control himself. Tree of life? What kind of tree is that? The disciple beside the elder asked. The tree of life, also known as the Dendrobium banyan tree, is the oldest tree in the world. After it matures, it will be completely golden. It can be used as medicine, it can help in cultivation, and it can also help in comprehending the Tao. The old man explained, once you reach the monarch level, you need to comprehend the Tao every time you advance. Only by comprehending the Tao can you advance further. Then isn't this tree of life very useful? The essence of the tree of life can increase a person's cultivation. Just one drop is enough to increase a person's cultivation by a small level. If it's an expert above the monarch level, even if they haven't comprehended the Tao, as long as they absorb its essence, they can still advance. The more the old man spoke, the more agitated he became. It was as if he could see himself advancing all the way to becoming a god monarch or even stronger. Really? The disciples were also excited. If they could obtain the essence of the tree of life, would they still need to worry? Their clan would definitely become a clan that could rival the forces in the inner regions. The ancient book said that the tree of life was extinct a long time ago. I never thought that there would be one here. The immortal realm is indeed the immortal realm. They even have such a treasure. Tree of life, tree of life. This was a genuine tree of life, a fully evolved tree of life. There had been a few dendrobium trees on the continent before, but those that had not turned golden could not be called life tree, so they did not have the same effects as the tree of life. But the one in front of him was different. It was a real tree of life. Patriarch, let's move the tree of life back. Don't worry. The tree of life is not that easy to deal with. The old man said, the ancient book said that the outside of the tree of life will form a barrier to protect itself. We have to find a way to break that barrier first. They slowly approached Qingyi. When they were about 100 meters away from him, they encountered an invisible obstacle. This should be where the barrier is. Ancestor, what should we do? All of you step back. I'll try to see if I can open this barrier. The old man instructed the people around him. The old man's strength was close to that of a venerable one. His attack was not something that an ordinary junior could withstand. Hearing that he was going to attack, everyone hid far away. The old man flew into the air and gathered his spiritual energy. After mobilizing all the spiritual energy in his body, he attacked the barrier with all his might. Boom! The huge impact sent the old man flying. He spun a few times in the air before landing on the ground. The shock waves spread out for thousands of miles before dissipating. Those juniors who were hiding in the distance were also struck by the shock waves. The weaker ones were directly killed and only the stronger ones were left. However, all of them were heavily injured. Patriarch. The survivors crawled up and ran towards the old man. Seeing the old man lying on the ground, they flipped him over and found that his face had been blown beyond recognition. Fortunately, he wasn't dead yet. He was still hanging on by a thread. They hurriedly fed him the pill. After a while, he finally opened his remaining eyelids. Tree of life? Patriarch, don't worry. The tree of life is still intact. A junior said. The old man spat out a mouthful of blood. He had used all his strength to strike, yet he had ended up in such a state. Yet the tree of life was completely undamaged. Then wouldn't he be injured for nothing? But that junior still comforted him, saying that the tree of life was still intact. He was so angry. Patriarch, don't be angry. Another junior comforted, when your body gets better, we will think of another way. How can we wait for my body to get better? The impact just now must have alerted the people nearby. If others come and discover the tree of life, what can we get? The old man roared. If someone really comes, it's not bad. What did you say? Patriarch, don't be anxious. Let me finish. That junior said, this tree of life's barrier is so powerful. Even if you use all your strength, you won't be able to move it. Even if your injuries are healed with all of our strength, we might not be able to open this barrier. What little brother said is right. Someone agreed. Patriarch, if we can't open this barrier and subdue this tree of life, no matter how useful it is, it's useless to us. No, why don't we spread this news and let others open a path for us? That's right, Patriarch. If we can't get it, there's no point in watching. The old man hesitated. This junior's words were not without reason. Guarding the treasure and not being able to get it, it was indeed useless. Patriarch is already half a step into the paragon level, but it's useless. If it's just an ordinary person, it's useless. So not only do we have to spread the news, we have to spread it more and more so that more experts will come. After struggling for a while, the old man finally agreed to this method. Relying on their current strength, they were indeed unable to contend against the tree of life. Borrowing the strength of others, this was indeed the only way now. Then you guys go and do it. When he said this, he felt his heart ache. His treasure up. The treasure that he discovered. Now that he had to share it with others, he felt that his heart hurt more than his body. The two of you first help the patriarch to a secret place to recuperate. Another two stay and clean up their corpses. The rest of you come with me. The two of them helped the old man back to the forest on the other side of the mountain, while the others went out to spread the news. The legendary tree of life could increase one's strength and help in advancement. This news spread very quickly. Not only did the people on the island know, even the people outside the island knew. More and more people rushed here. The people on the island did not search for the historical remains. There might be treasures in the historical remains, but it would definitely not be as precious as the tree of life. Furthermore, the historical remains might only have treasures, or it could be a place where the emperor lived. However, compared to the real tree of life, the historical remains were not that important. More and more people came, and more people were blocked outside the barrier. No matter how strong they were still helpless against the barrier. Sima Yue, who was staring blankly at the creases in the tree hole, did not know how lucky she was to be able to come here. Although she had little roar fused with her and was immune to the barrier, if Qingyi did not attack them, they would not be able to get close to him unharmed. More than 10 days later, the place was filled with people, but no one broke the barrier. More than a month later, the grassland was already filled with people. There were also many experts who came. They were all determined to get the tree of life. This book came from the book and book #web. Chapter 1103. Sima Yue was in the tree hole and had no idea what was happening outside. Boring, this was the only feeling she had right now. She sat cross-legged on the leaves with her hands on her knees, supporting her chin as she stared at the tree creases. Folds. Aren't you tired of staring at me like this? If you're annoyed, why don't you just tell me what kind of Tao is contained in your body? Endless silence. Of course, Treefold wouldn't tell her what kind of Tao he had. He said that he didn't even know what he had, because different people would see different things when looking at it. In fact, she couldn't be blamed for being impetuous. There was nothing here except for the wrinkles, but it was impossible to see anything if she kept staring at the bark. If it was a day or two, it would be fine. Or maybe a month or two, she could accept it. However, she felt that she had been here for at least a year. Facing those wrinkles every day, her heart began to feel restless. Qingyi observed the situation of the 4 people in his body. Since little Seven had already recovered her memories, this evolution was something she was already familiar with. There was no need to worry too much. Su Xiao and Han Miao Shuang were in the illusion, comprehending and seeing through the illusion. They were mainly testing one's mental strength. As long as one could break through the illusion, they would be able to improve. Only Sima Yue had nothing. Seeing that she was getting more and more impetuous, he wondered if he had overestimated her. She might not really be able to comprehend anything. Seeing that she didn't get anything, Qingyi decided to change his mind. After little Seven evolved successfully, he would let her out and give her something else as compensation. Boom. The people outside were attacking the barrier again. They hadn't rested for more than a month. No matter how good his temper was, he was still angry. His gaze darkened as he walked out from the tree trunk. However, he did not reveal himself, so those people would not be able to see him. Xingyi looked at the densely packed people and narrowed his eyes. With a wave of his hand, those who were attacking the barrier received an even stronger counterattack and were sent flying a few thousand meters away. The Tree of Life is retaliating. Someone shouted. If they wanted to retaliate, they would have done so long ago. Why did it take so long for them to react? You must be mistaken. How could I be wrong? His strength is obviously much stronger than before. Sai, we have been attacking for more than a month, but we can't even break through this barrier, let alone get close to the Tree of Life. Could it be that this barrier is unbreakable? There's no barrier that can't be broken. We just have to find the wrong way. Previously, everyone's attacks were too scattered. What if we all attack the same spot? Maybe. Sai, don't waste your energy. If it's really possible, it won't be your turn. Those forces in the inner regions are all ready to make a move. I guess they're going to join forces. There's nothing we can do if they don't join forces. More people are coming. Xianqiu he walked over in a wheelchair, followed by the guards of the Xianqiu clan. Some of the people in the inner circle saw the logo on Xianqiu he's clothes and were very surprised. The people from the Yin clan are here too. Young master, there's a barrier here. The man behind Xianqiu he stopped in front of the barrier. Xianqiu he stretched out his hand and touched it. An invisible barrier blocked him outside. Stop, he ordered the people behind him. That guard let go of him. He put his hands on the wheel and pushed forward. The wheelchair brought him through the barrier. He went in. God, how did he go in? Those who didn't know Xianqiu he's identity were very surprised. Those who knew his identity were very emotional. As expected of the people from the Yin clan. He went in just like that. Sitting in a wheelchair and proficient in barriers. This should be Xianqiu he of the Xianqiu clan. How did he go in? I heard that Xianqiu he is proficient in all kinds of barriers. No barrier can stop him. So it's not strange for him to go in. He went in just like that. If only we could go in too. You can only watch. There's no point in being envious. That's right. Sai, let's continue to break the barrier. I wonder if he'll be attacked when he gets close to the Tree of Life. It should be. This barrier is so aggressive. It can be seen that the Tree of Life isn't easy to deal with either. He's close. He's close. It didn't attack him. He's gone. It didn't attack him. He's gone. Could it be that he disappeared after being attacked? He didn't resist. It can't be. I'm so envious. Sai, continue to attack, continue to attack. Qingyi was a little surprised when he saw Xianqiu he. He didn't expect to see the man in Little Seven and Sima Yoyue's memories. After Xianqiu he woke up from his dizziness, he saw Qingyi on the tree trunk in front of him. He wasn't too surprised. Tree of Life, you're really here. He said faintly. You're not surprised to see me. Qingyi said, there's something in your brain that makes me unable to see through your memories. It's that thing that makes you unable to see and walk. Yes, I have a friend who said that before. You're not worried. What's there to worry about? Xianqiu he smiled, it's fate. Since it's already like this, what's there to worry about? You're not worried that you won't live long? I'll live as long as I can. It's just death. There will be such a day. You're quite similar to her. No wonder you can be friends. Qingyi said. My friend? That's right. Qingyi said, since you're here, I'll give you a chance too. Xianqiu he didn't have time to ask the next question before the image on the tree trunk disappeared. The environment he was in changed too. He turned into a baby and saw a group of people surrounding him. They were discussing anxiously. He couldn't hear what they were saying. He only felt that it was noisy. Then he saw those people moving around on his body. From then on, he never saw the colors of this world again. Contract with me. I'll make you the master of this world. A voice in the darkness bewitched him. Who are you? I'm you. Impossible. I'm your body. We're one. That voice said, contract with me. I'll bring you to the top of the world and look down on everything in this world. What price will I pay? Price? No, there's no price. We're one. There's no need for you to pay any price. We're one. Why do we need to contract? We're only compatible with our bodies now. This isn't enough. We need to be compatible with our souls. Our bodies and minds are one. Only then can we truly release our powers. When that time comes, you can walk on your own. You can also see the world. Come, let's contract. Chapter 1104. I know who you are. Xianxiu, he said, you are the thing sealed in my brain, right? You want to use me in the contract to break the seal. We were born together. I am you and you are me. We are inseparable. The voice laughed strangely. Without me you won't be able to live either. Then I'd rather die. At least if I die you'll be my scapegoat. It won't be too miserable. Xianxiu, he said faintly. You want to die? How could you want to die? You are a genius and the heavens have given you such good talent. Why don't you want it? This is a gift from the heavenly Tao to you. Gift? You. Do you think I'll treat you as a gift from the heavens? Xianxiu, he smiled bitterly. You are a punishment given to me by the heavens. That's why I have you in my body. I will find a way to get rid of you. Don't you want to stand at the top of the world? Don't you want others to crawl at your feet? You desire these things too, don't you? No, don't say you didn't. The voice interrupted him. If not, you wouldn't be here and I wouldn't exist in your body. There is a desire in your heart, a desire for all of this. Xianxiu, he was silent as he pursed his thin lips. Yes, you're right. I do have thoughts and desires, but my desire is to see this world with my own eyes, not to be controlled by you. Xianxiu, he said, I will fight for everything that I want myself and not rely on selling myself to get it. You don't have to waste your energy on me. His words were sonorous and forceful, and his attitude was resolute. After he finished speaking, the surrounding darkness disappeared, and everything returned to normal. Be magnanimous, don't forget your original intentions. These words resounded between heaven and earth. Suddenly, 8 golden words appeared in the sky. After flying in a circle, they stopped above the tree of life. A golden light appeared, and Xianxiu, his figure appeared on the crown of the tree of life. Look, he's out. Shrouded in golden light, the Sanskrit chants of heaven and earth. He has obtained his Tao. The grassland was in an uproar. Very few people could truly comprehend the Tao of heaven and earth. Once they did, they would receive the Tao bestowed by heaven and earth. Then, their future cultivation would be smooth. The 8 words flew around the tree of life and then entered Xianxiu, his body. The people of Xianxiu clan were even more excited. Before they came in, they had received guidance from Master Yin Lin. He said that there would be great opportunities when they came in. They didn't expect that their young master had actually comprehended the way of heaven. This was something that hadn't happened for many years. In the future, the Xianxiu clan would definitely become the #1 hidden clan. When the 8 characters of heavenly Tao entered Xianxiu, his body, he felt that the seal in his body became even stronger. He could even see some white light in his eyes. Although it was still a blur, at least it wasn't the endless darkness of the past. You have already obtained your Tao. Live. As soon as Qingyi finished speaking, Xianxiu, he felt his body being pushed out by a boundless force, arriving outside the barrier. Young master. The people of Xianxiu clan surrounded him. Let's go, Xianxiu, he instructed. Yes, young master. The people of Xianxiu clan pushed him out. Before he left, he turned back to look at the tree of life. He seemed to have seen that man again. His friend. Who was he talking about? Was it Sima Yue? He didn't know why, but he felt that the person Qingyi was talking about was Sima Yue because he didn't have many friends. The people of Xianxiu clan came and left after a few days. This made the others very envious. They also wanted to obtain the gift from the tree of life. In the next few months, some hidden clans and powers from the inner regions came one after another. They knew more about the tree of life than the others. They didn't think of uprooting it because it wasn't something that they could take for themselves. They only hoped to obtain some of its gifts. Even if it was just a little, it would benefit them immensely. Especially when Xianxiu, he comprehended his own Tao in the tree of life. This news caused many people in the immortal land to come here. They hoped that they could be as lucky as him. Some people went in. Like Xianxiu, they also entered the tree of life. They were given a similar test, but no one comprehended their Tao. However, they received other things from Qingyi. Although they weren't as powerful as the Tao they comprehended, they were still very useful to them. A small portion of the people who came previously left. They realized that they couldn't open the enchantment and couldn't get close to the tree of life. They couldn't obtain its gifts. Since they were not fated with this opportunity, they might as well give it up and go to other places to find something that belonged to them. Although the remaining people didn't leave, they understood that it was useless to attack forcefully. They could only think of other ways to enter the enchantment. Even so, there was still an endless stream of people coming here. If they were here for the historical remains before, they were all here for Qingyi now. In the tree hole, Sima Yue kept staring at the folds in a daze. She didn't know about the battle outside. However, when Xianqiu he succeeded in comprehending his Tao and the heaven and earth bestowed his Tao, she seemed to feel the Buddha's voice trembling. Her heart also trembled. Could it be that senior brother or senior sister succeeded? She stood up and walked around. Until now, she still couldn't use her spiritual power. She couldn't even climb up. I'm so sleepy. Why don't I take a nap? She stretched her waist and laid down on the ground. She just happened to lie in the middle of the tree hole. Looking at the black hole right above her, she seemed to be sucked in. She was obviously very sleepy, but she couldn't sleep. She kept staring at the hole above. As she stared, the hole became a fold on the tree trunk. She rubbed her eyes. It was still the same. She shouted, "Am I possessed?" She closed her eyes and forced herself not to think about anything. However, those folds still appeared in front of her eyes. It's over. I've been looking at this for so long. It's already filling up my head. She knocked on her head and opened her eyes. She looked at those folds filling up the black hole. Why is it getting more and more blurry? She looked at the wrinkles. Originally, the layers were very orderly, but the lines slowly bent and merged together. It was as if it had become a barren land. She seemed to have become a part of the air. She followed the wind and hung on the bare and exposed ground. This place is really barren. There's not even a blade of grass. She thought to herself. She floated around with the wind. However, no matter where she floated to, there were only pieces of rocks. The scorching sun was scorching. The rocks were so roasted that they were smoking. Sima Yue felt as if she was going to be roasted into human jerky. Damn, what kind of place is this? It's good to have some saliva too. Just as she finished speaking, a sweet spring suddenly appeared from the cracked ground. She was shocked. Chapter 1105. Sima Yue looked at the spring water that came out and licked her dry lips. She could not wait to squat down and use her hands to feed herself. The spring water was refreshing and sweet. After drinking it, the heat in his body dissipated by more than half. Only when she felt better did she have the energy to look around. What the hell is this place? There's nothing here except for this cracked earth. Could it be that I'm hallucinating and seeing the prehistoric continent? She muttered to herself. She didn't know how long she had been here. It had always been daytime and there had never been a night. Isn't this a world? Otherwise, why would there be only day and no night? If this was my place, I would definitely make it dark. Only then would it be complete. Just as she thought this, the sun slowly set in the west and night came. F***ck, could it be that I can do whatever I want here? She was shocked by her own thoughts. However, ever since she thought about day and night, this place had indeed become alternating between day and night, confirming her thoughts. This place was indeed what she wanted it to be. What was the world like? She couldn't remember what the world was like. She clearly had an idea in her mind, but she just couldn't remember what it should be. Tao begets one, one begets two, two begets three, and three begets all things. That's right. Tao begets one, one begets two, two begets three, and three begets all things. Her eyes lit up as she finally remembered what she was thinking about. The world, heaven and earth, could accommodate all things and not be as bare as it was now. Tao begets one. A small fish appeared in the spring, and a blade of grass grew beside the spring. Then the spring water turned into a stream and then into a river. At the end of the river, a vast ocean slowly formed. One small fish turned into two small fish, two fish turned into three fish, and three fish turned into even more fish. One blade of grass became two blades of grass, two blades of grass became three blades of grass, and three blades of grass became even more blades of grass. Both sides of the river bank turned green. One animal appeared, two animals appeared, and then all kinds of animals. Sima Yue sat on the peak of the mountain and watched the world below slowly become the world she was familiar with. Her heart was filled with satisfaction. There was heaven and earth, mountains and rivers, flowers and trees, birds and beasts, night and day, yin and yang. Is this the world I want? She held her chin and muttered, I wonder if there's anything else. She didn't know how long she had been here, nor did she know what she was doing. She just kept thinking. Seeing the desolate land slowly become full of life, she was very happy. She even forgot to think about where she was and what she was doing. Qing Yi had been testing those who came in recently and did not pay much attention to the four of them. When he turned around to look at them, he was shocked by their current appearance. Especially when he saw Sima Yu's current state, he was fiercely shocked. How could this be? With a thought, he came to the place where Sima Yue was and looked at the other world that was formed in the tree hole. Tao begets one, one begets two, then three begets all things. he looked at Sima Yue who was lying in the middle. She was no longer surrounded by his tree hole, but another world. Territory, you've actually comprehended a territory. Did your rebirth make you understand the meaning of life? The tree of life, a tree that was rich in life energy. He did not expect that one day someone would comprehend a territory from him. Her territory was still unstable and there were not many things in it. She was still perfecting it. He was very curious. He did not know what kind of territory she would form in the end. Sima Yue did not know that she was comprehending a territory. She was just subconsciously perfecting it, making it more stable and wider. The territory that you've comprehended here contains the way of heaven. I'm very curious about what it will be like after you come out. I think those supremacy's territories can't compete with yours. Boom, the intense collision made him frown. He turned around and was already outside. Dozens of monarchs were attacking his enchantment together. There were even 2 supremacies among them. They could not enter the enchantment and could not get close to the tree of life. However, when they saw others enter and gain many benefits, they were unwilling to give up. Hence they discussed attacking together. If it was before, Qingyi might not care about them. However, now that Sima Yue was comprehending a territory, he could not let these people interrupt this rare opportunity. Even if Sima Yue became stronger and could better protect Little Seven, it was enough for him to protect her. Those who attack the enchantment die. This was the first time Qingyi had spoken, and the people outside had indeed stopped attacking. Please, Tree of Life, give us this opportunity. Someone shouted. Those who are fated will naturally be able to enter my enchantment. If you can't, it means that we are not fated. You can leave. Qingyi said calmly. Tree of Life, we've been waiting here for so long. You can give others, but can't you give us some too? I said, those who are fated will naturally be able to enter. Those who can't, it means that we are not fated. You can wait here for a year, 10 years, 100 years. It has nothing to do with me. However, if anyone dares to attack my enchantment again, don't blame me for being impolite. Qingyi threatened. Qingyi's words did not give the people outside much of a sense of crisis. This was because they had been here for almost half a year and they had never seen Qingyi attack anyone. They did not believe that he would attack. A bad-tempered monarch rank expert was angered by Qingyi's words. He condensed his spiritual energy and attacked the enchantment. So, pooh! A branch extended from the tree trunk at the speed of light. In the blink of an eye, it was outside the enchantment. When people could see it clearly, it had already pierced through the man's heart. Everyone was stunned. A monarch rank expert was killed by him so easily. With such strength, who would dare to go against him? Those who attacked the enchantment were terrified. They suddenly felt lucky that the Tree of Life was not a bad-tempered person. He did not attack them from the start. Otherwise, even if there were twice as many of them, they would not be his opponent. The branch dragged the corpse into the enchantment. Then it threw the corpse on the ground. His eyes were wide open, showing his shock and unwillingness. It warned the people outside not to be reckless. Seeing Qingyi kill someone, they remembered that no one had been able to break the enchantment for more than half a year. Many people wanted to retreat. They no longer dared to attack the enchantment. Since they were not fated, they should leave and look for their own opportunities elsewhere. Pavilion Master, let us give it a try. A tender voice attracted everyone's attention. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.